Chapter 35. Bang! Loosening his grip, Fei Ren threw Wang Lingyun to the ground. In the next moment, his left foot ruthlessly stomped on Wang Lingyun's face, causing his mouth and eyes to sway. "You! I'm going to kill you!" Facing such humiliation, Wang Lingyun was so angry that his face turned ashen. At this moment, his mouth was filled with blood and many of his teeth were broken. He stuttered and his right hand that was pointing at Fei Ren was trembling. It seemed that his injuries were too serious and he could not resist. "Fei Ren, this kid has already learned his lesson." Guo Huai frowned and looked at the miserable Wang Lingyun on the ground. He shook his head and sighed. "Sect leader, he wanted to kill me in every possible way. If I was not strong enough today, I'm afraid my fate would be even worse than Wang Ning's. Moreover, sect leader will not save me." Without directly responding to Guo Huai's pleas, Fei Ren's gaze was deep as he said meaningfully, "This kid's temperament is actually so deep. It seems that I have underestimated him." Just as he finished speaking, Guo Huai's expression changed slightly. Then, he became silent. It seemed that he was also shocked by Fei Ren's decisiveness. His eyes were hesitant. "Have mercy." At this moment, a gray-robed figure suddenly flew over. The person who came had a ferocious face and angry eyes. It was Wang Lingyun's master, Wu Tai. "Wu Tai." Seeing Wu Tai flying over, Fei Ren's eyes narrowed. The other party was obviously planning to save Wang Lingyun. After all, he was Wang Lingyun's master. "Ha ha ha ha, kid. Now that sect leader is protecting me and my master is here, do you still dare to kill me?" Seeing Wu Tai rushing over, Wang Lingyun, who was lying on the ground, seemed to have gained some confidence. He immediately laughed wildly. His blood-stained and filthy face was extremely arrogant. "Trash, why wouldn't I dare?" With a cold smile, Fei Ren ignored Wu Tai's angry roar. He once again condensed a black tiger palm chi in his hand. His eyes were filled with ferocity. "You!" When he saw that Fei Ren was determined to kill him, Wang Lingyun's expression changed and he panicked. He never imagined that Fei Ren would be so bold as to kill him in front of Wu Tai and Guo Huai. "No. Fei Ren, brother Fei, I was wrong. I won't dare to do it again. Let me go." Wang Lingyun was somewhat incoherent, his body constantly struggling, trying to break free from Fei Ren's restraints, but it was still useless. Fei Ren's feet were like a sea-stabilizing needle, firmly pressing him to the ground, unable to move. "Die!" Ignoring Wang Lingyun's pleas for mercy, Fei Ren roared. In the next moment, his origin energy mixed with his palm energy blasted towards Wang Lingyun's heart meridian. "Brat, you dare?" Seeing that Fei Ren still wanted to kill him, and Guo Huai beside him did not stop him, Wu Tai's face was filled with anger. He also raised his hand and blasted out a origin energy ribbon, intending to block Fei Ren's fatal blow. Bang! Poochie! The origin energy ribbon streaked across the sky, and finally shattered more than half of Fei Ren's attack. However, the remaining power still fell on the heavily injured Wang Lingyun, causing him to vomit blood. At the same time, his head tilted to the side and he completely fainted. "After taking this palm of mine, even if this grandson doesn't die, he will be crippled. Whatever." Seeing that Wang Lingyun was saved by Wu Tai, Fei Ren's face turned cold. He then retreated to the side, and at the same time, took out a pill from his low-level spirit ring to recover his origin energy and injuries, and no longer made a sound. Helping the unconscious Wang Lingyun up from the ground, Wu Tai also quickly took out a few pills from his pocket to help him consume them. His face was ashen. "Sect leader. This kid is ruthless and merciless, and he ignored the sect rules. I hope that sect leader will punish him severely, and seek an explanation for my Yun." Turning his head to look at Guo Huai, Wu Tai immediately knelt on one knee, and in the next moment, cupped his hands and said angrily, as if he wanted to capture Fei Ren and convict him. He deserved it. Wu Tai, although you're my right-hand man, there are some things you've done that you've gone too far. Guo Huai frowned, and slowly opened his mouth, as if he wanted to protect Fei Ren. Sect leader. Wu Tai's face froze. This is a rank 2 living marrow pill. It can reconnect bones and heal injuries. Go back and give it to Wang Lingyun. Since today is a life and death battle, it is not convenient for me to interfere. Moreover, Fei Ren is an outstanding disciple of the Iron Palm sect. In the future, you are not allowed to attack him. Otherwise, don't blame me for falling out with you. Glancing at Wu Tai, who was kneeling on one knee, Guo Huai once again said faintly, his tone firm. Yes, seeing Guo Huai's attitude in front of him, Wu Tai knew that he could no longer target Fei Ren. He immediately gritted his teeth and angrily accepted the order. Then, he helped the heavily injured Wang Lingyun and hurriedly left the place, looking a little embarrassed and lonely. Fei Ren, you have also used up a lot of origin power in this battle. Here are 5 rank 2 recovery pills, they should be of some help to you. After Wu Tai left, Guo Huai also turned to look at Fei Ren. In the next moment, a white light flashed on his fingertips, and he actually took out a small bottle of pills from his spirit ring, and then threw it to Fei Ren, who was sitting cross-legged and healing his injuries. Thank you, sect leader. Fei Ren stopped healing and caught the bottle. At the same time, he cupped his hands and knelt on one knee. In this battle, not only did he make a name for himself, and ruthlessly trampled Wang Lingyun under his feet, even sect leader Guo Huai wanted to rope him in. Since he had already achieved his goal, no matter how dissatisfied Wu Tai was, he would not dare to do anything to him. Moreover, Fei Ren's current strength was already comparable to the 9th level of the body refinement stage. As long as he was given a little more time and his injuries were healed, even Wu Tai, a veteran 8th level body refinement stage expert, would not be his opponent. Wang Lingyun's meridians are all broken, and his bones are all ruined. Even if he can be saved in the end, there will be many hidden injuries, and his strength will be greatly affected. In the future, if he wants to step into the middle unity stage, shaking his head, Guo Huai looked at Fei Ren beside him, his tone somewhat meaningful. Sect leader's kindness, this disciple is unable to repay. Hearing this, Fei Ren cupped his hands again, clearly understanding the meaning behind Guo Huai's words. Just now, when he was about to kill Wang Lingyun, Guo Huai could have sold Wu Tai a favor and saved Wang Lingyun. However, he did not do so, clearly showing his attitude. Compared to Wang Lingyun, Fei Ren's talent and strength were even more top-notch, and more worthy of nurturing. Fei Ren, in a few days, I intend to promote you to the inner sect great disciple. As the great senior brother of many disciples, what do you think? Slightly smiling, Guo Huai was very satisfied with Fei Ren's intelligence and immediately said in a deep voice, Sect leader's kindness, this disciple would not dare to disobey. Cupping his hands, Fei Ren once again knelt on one knee and respectfully said, in the face of Guo Huai's recruitment, Fei Ren naturally would not be polite. After all, he had spent a Herculean effort to defeat Wang Lingyun, a formidable opponent. His status was directly promoted from an odd-job disciple to an inner sect great senior brother. He would definitely not let go of such a good opportunity. As the great senior brother of the inner sect of the Taizhong clan, every month he would have at least 100 contribution points, which was enough to exchange for a dozen inferior-grade origin stones. Currently, Fei Ren's cultivation had already stepped into the 7th level of the body refinement stage, and every time he broke through, he would consume more yuan power than ordinary practitioners. Therefore, he needed even more origin stones. Chapter 36. Fei Ren, follow me. Looking at Fei Ren, who was kneeling in front of him with a respectful expression, Guo Huai nodded his head before flying towards Teeling Peak. What is he up to this time? Fei Ren did not think too much and quickly followed Guo Huai's footsteps. Fei Ren Senior. Senior, Your martial arts are unparalleled. In the crowd, looking at the departing figures of Fei Ren and Guo Huai, a young disciple suddenly shouted out. In the next moment, the crowd started to boil with respect. Everyone looked at Fei Ren with eyes full of worship. This young master has become famous in one battle. Looking back at the enthusiastic crowd behind him, Fei Ren could not help but rub his nose, his face relieved. Arriving at the Teeling Peak, Fei Ren's face froze. He did not expect that the plain-robed elder from the sect hall would be here. Little kid, long time no see. Seeing Fei Ren's stunned face, Li Feng chuckled. His wrinkled face instantly scrunched up as he spoke in a playful tone. Li Feng, my brother. In the early years, we roamed the Jianghu together and founded the third-rate Iron Palm sect. Stepping forward, Guo Huai slowly explained. At the same time, he glanced at Fei Ren beside him. Fei Ren, you know each other? Disciple is not talented, but I was fortunate enough to meet Senior Li a few times. Clasping his hands, Fei Ren nodded his head. I see. Fei Ren, my sect wishes to take you in as a disciple. Are you willing? Slightly nodding his head, Guo Huai spoke again. At the same time, a trace of shrewdness flashed across his eyes. Fei Ren was not even 15 years old, but his cultivation had already reached the 7th level of the body refinement stage. Such a strong cultivation talent was rarely seen in the entire Wu-An town. In the future, if there were no accidents, he would definitely step into the middle unity stage. With regards to this kind of genius, Guo Huai would naturally try his best to rope him in. After all, the Iron Palm School currently only had him and Li Feng, 2 middle unity realm experts. It was merely a third-rate force. If the school had another middle unity realm expert, it would have the opportunity to rise to the ranks of a second-rate force, developing and expanding from there. Sect Master's love, this disciple will definitely repay it in the future. In the face of Guo Huai's decision to take him in as a disciple, Fei Ren did not hesitate and immediately cupped his hands. Currently, he possessed the Tier 5 cultivation technique, though Black Tortoise Immortality scripture, and the martial arts he cultivated were not weak either. He also had the Immortal Refining Cauldron, a supreme immortal Dao treasure. Although Guo Huai was a second-stage Middle Union expert, he was nothing to Fei Ren. However, his wings were not fully grown yet, and it would be difficult for him to face a Middle Unity realm expert. Therefore, he could only keep a low profile and endure. He did not reject Guo Huai's good intentions. After all, there was no loss in picking up a master for free. He could also get more cultivation resources and improve his cultivation strength as soon as possible. Good. From today onwards, you are my disciple. However, before this, I have already taken in a female disciple. Fei Ren, I hope you don't mind such a small matter. You are still the Iron Palm School's big senior brother. As if he did not expect Fei Ren to agree so readily, Guo Huai chuckled and said, I will listen to Master's instructions, without any objections. Fei Ren's face was calm. Clearly, he had acknowledged Guo Huai as his chief master. Here are 10 Tier 2 recovery pills. Although the quality is not good, the effect is much better than ordinary low-grade origin stones. As the future Iron Palm School's big senior brother, you have to cultivate well. Do not slack off. Nodding his head in satisfaction, Guo Huai took out a white medicine bottle from his spirit ring and threw it to Fei Ren. Thank you, Master. Receiving the medicine bottle, Fei Ren's face was filled with joy. Guo Huai was a Zhanghe boundary expert, and his wealth was naturally not low. It was as if the second-grade pills in his hands were free. Previously, he had given him a bottle, and now he was giving him another bottle. Fei Ren was naturally overjoyed. After receiving the medicine bottle, Fei Ren did not stay here any longer. He cupped his hands towards Guo Huai and Li Feng, then turned and left Iron Mountain Peak. Guo Huai, this kid is very talented. I saw him when he first came to the sect hall to accept the sect mission. He is a good seedling. As long as he is nurtured well, stepping into the middle unity realm will not be a problem. Moreover, if this kid does not die prematurely, he will be able to catch up to the high star realm that you and I have never touched. With a flash, Li Feng came to Guo Huai's side. His words were full of praise for Fei Ren. Previously, he had seen that Fei Ren's talent was extraordinary. Otherwise, he would not have recommended Fei Ren in front of Guo Huai. The facts proved that Li Feng's vision was right. To be able to reach this step from a servant disciple, compared to Wang Lingyun, Fei Ren was indeed dozens of times stronger. Li Feng, this evaluation is a bit too high. Hearing this, Guo Huai's face was a little surprised. His cultivation was at the second level of the middle unity realm, while Li Feng's cultivation was at the first level of the middle unity realm. Although there was only a difference of one level, the middle unity realm was not the same as the body refinement realm. The difference in strength between each level was not small. The two of them had been practicing martial arts for many years and had some lucky encounters that allowed them to break through to the middle unity realm. Out of every 10 10th level refinement realm experts, only one of them would be able to step into the middle unity realm. Every breakthrough in the middle unity realm was not easy, not to mention the high star realm. Basically, every martial artist that could step into the high star realm was a hero of a region. It's not an exaggeration at all. This child has the potential. Shaking his head, Li Feng smiled. It seems that I did not lose out by accepting him as a disciple. Perhaps in the future, the Iron Palm Gate will be able to flourish and become a second-rate force, or even a first-rate force. Looking at the direction Fei Ren left, Guo Huai's sallow face revealed a meaningful expression. The next moment, he laughed. 3 days later, at the Blue Sky Peak. 100 snake hands, great accomplishment. Fei Ren's left hand was like a spirit snake as it twisted and swung, bringing along waves of origin energy. His face was firm. Ever since he defeated Wang Lingyun that day, he had been promoted to the Iron Palm Gate's senior apprentice brother as he wished. Furthermore, he had become Guo Huai's disciple and received a large amount of cultivation resources. After a few days of secluded cultivation, Fei Ren's cultivation base had also skyrocketed. He was only a step away from the 8th level of the body refinement realm, and he had also mastered the 2nd level martial art, 100 snake hands. What a pity! I'm still a little short. Withdrawing his hand, Fei Ren let out a light sigh. After this period of cultivation, the second-grade origin recovery pill that Guo Huai bestowed upon him had already been used up. Furthermore, there weren't many inferior-grade origin stones left in his possession, yet he still hadn't broken through to the 8th level of the body refinement stage. Because his body had merged with the immortal refining cauldron, Fei Ren did not have any bottlenecks in his cultivation. However, the amount of origin energy he consumed every time he broke through was several times that of a normal martial artist. It could be said that there were both pros and cons. Luckily, the Black Tortoise Immortality Scripture is a 5th level martial art. Even if I don't have any origin stones or pills, with this cultivation speed, I should be able to break through to the 8th level of the body refinement realm in at most a month. Let's go out for a walk. Exiting his cultivation state, Fei Ren's face revealed a trace of fatigue. These few days, he had been busy cultivating and did not leave his room. His entire person had almost become a boring gourd. It could be said that he was extremely bored. Chapter 37. Blue Sky Peak, halfway up the mountain. Fei Ren. A woman's voice came from not far away. In the next moment, Fei Ren's footsteps slowly stopped. It's her. Hearing the voice, Fei Ren was stunned. The person who came was a petite girl in a green dress. Her face was delicate and pretty, and she looked obedient and cute. She was Chun Tingting, who entered the Iron Palm sect with Fei Ren that day. Phew, you're finally out. Hurriedly running in front of Fei Ren, Chen Tingting raised her hand and patted her chest, panting. Miss Chen, why are you looking for me? Fei Ren pretended to be calm and then probed. Although he and Chen Tingting entered the Iron Palm sect at the same time, they did not have much interaction, and did not even speak much. Now that the other party had personally come to find him, it was obvious that she had other motives. Could it be that she has taken a fancy to my looks and wants to repay me with her body or something? Rubbing his chin, Fei Ren's face suddenly became wretched. What are you thinking? What a mess! I'm here today to thank you. Seeing the wretched expression on Fei Ren's face, Chen Tingting frowned, then reached out and hammered Fei Ren's chest, and said angrily, Thank you? I don't remember helping Miss Chen with anything? Seeing this scene, Fei Ren also restrained his expression, then coughed a few times and asked. Ever since he entered the Iron Palm sect, he had been cultivating every day, and basically did not pay attention to the outside world. The only time he made a move, he offended Wang Ning, and in the end, attracted Wang Lingyun's hatred and revenge. If it was not for his superior skills, he might have lost his life in that life and death battle. Wang Lingyun and I have a marriage contract set by Master. I originally wanted to refuse, but this guy kept pestering me. Fortunately, you defeated him, and now he is almost a cripple. As for the marriage contract, naturally, it is cancelled. Chen Tingting stroked her long hair and chuckled. She seemed to be in a good mood. I didn't expect her to look so pretty when she smiles despite her usual valiant heroine appearance. Fei Ren couldn't help but take a few more glances at Chen Tingting. A strange look flashed across his face, but he quickly restrained his expression in the next moment. He coughed dryly and said, It's just a small matter, not worth mentioning. That bastard Wang Lingyun has been causing trouble for me. If it wasn't for his master, Wu Tai, stopping me, I would have killed him that day. This guy. He's quite scary when he gets serious. To think that I used to treat him as an opponent. Seeing the killing intent that flashed in Fei Ren's eyes, Chen Tingting's pretty face changed slightly. She bit her lips lightly, seemingly intimidated. Miss Chen, is there anything else? With a dry cough, Fei Ren probed again. Although it was very comfortable to travel with a beauty, for the current him, cultivation was more important. TSK. This lady, a great beauty, came to chat with you, and you're in such a hurry to chase me away? Besides, this lady is also the sect leader's disciple. According to seniority, you have to call me senior sister. As if she could hear the impatience in Fei Ren's tone, Chen Tingting placed her hands on her hips. Her pair of black eyes widened as she pouted and snorted. Who's that girl? She actually dares to reprimand Fei Ren, senior brother. At this moment, a few outer court disciples passed by. When they saw Chen Tingting lecturing Fei Ren like a big sister, they immediately started to whisper to each other. Miss Chen, according to the rules of the Iron Palm sect, isn't seniority based on cultivation? Rubbing his nose, Fei Ren looked at the angry Chen Tingting. Following the principle of a good man not fighting with a woman, he spread out his hands and laughed bitterly. I don't care. I'm older than you and entered the sect earlier than you, so you have to call me senior sister. Otherwise, I'll go to Master and tell on you. With a light snort, Chen Tingting turned her head to the side and spoke in an arrogant tone. It was obvious that she did not intend to reason with Fei Ren at all. All right, senior sister Chen. Reasoning with a woman was courting death. Although Fei Ren was young, he understood this principle. He immediately cupped his fists and admitted defeat to Chen Tingting with a helpless expression. That's a good boy. Good junior brother, I have nothing else to do. You can go do what you need to do. Seeing Fei Ren being so obedient, the corners of Chen Tingting's mouth rose and her beautiful face regained a smile. In the next moment, she reached out and patted Fei Ren's shoulder. She already had the appearance of a senior sister. Oh right, Fei Ren, there's one more thing that I almost forgot. Just as Fei Ren turned around and was about to leave, Chen Tingting spoke again. In the next moment, she moved lightly and blocked his body. Take this. Master and Senior Li Feng asked me to give this to you. Don't lose it. Taking out a low-level spirit ring from her sleeve, Chen Tingting handed it over to Fei Ren in the next moment, her beautiful face slightly red. After a period of cultivation, Chen Tingting's cultivation had also stepped into the 5th level of the body refinement stage. As a disciple under Guohuai and from a wealthy family in Wuhan Town, she also had a low-level spirit ring on her. Therefore, she was not surprised by something like a spirit ring. Spirit ring? What's inside? Reaching out to take the low-level spirit ring, Fei Ren's face was slightly surprised. I don't know, but it's definitely something good. After all, it was given to you by Master and Senior Li Feng. They are both middle unity stage experts. Shaking her head, Chen Tingting said in a serious tone. Although Guohuai was only a middle unity stage 2nd level martial artist, he could be said to be generous. Not only did he reward Fei Ren with many spirit pills and origin stones, he also gave him a low-level spirit ring. It was unknown what kind of treasure was inside this low-level spirit ring. Thank you, Senior Sister Chen. Keeping the spirit ring, Fei Ren faintly smiled. I was just joking with you. You really took it seriously. You are now the inner sex big senior brother. How can you call me senior sister? In the future, just call me Tingting. Seeing that Fei Ren really treated her as a senior sister, Chen Tingting's face turned red. Soon after, she covered her mouth and laughed softly. Although she and Fei Ren did not interact much, after a few short interactions, she found that Fei Ren was somewhat different from the rest. He was even a little bit handsome, causing people to be intoxicated. I'm a girl, how can I have such vulgar thoughts in my head? No, before the thought rose in her heart, Chen Tingting hurriedly cut it off and her face returned to normal. Thank you, Miss Tingting. After changing the way he addressed her, Fei Ren cupped his hands and left. Although he had a meticulous mind, he was not good at dealing with women. After all, Fei Ren had just turned 15 this year. He had some understanding of the matters between men and women, but it was not deep. When he was still wandering in Wuhan Town, he did not have much contact with women. Every day, he would eat and sleep in the open, mixing with people from all walks of life. Naturally, he did not understand the thousands of thoughts of women. Chapter 38. I wonder what's inside this ring? Using his yuan qi, Fei Ren found that inside the ring, there was a silver blade lying quietly. The silver blade was extremely sharp and emitted a cold light. At the same time, there was a small pile of yuan stones beside it. There were about a dozen of them, all of which were of inferior quality. Wow, this is a spirit treasure. Fei Ren's eyes were fixed on the silver broadsword. His face was full of surprise, as if he hadn't expected Guohuai to be so generous. The silver blade in the ring was emitting a biting cold aura. It was obviously not an ordinary weapon. It had already reached the level of a spirit treasure. Although it was only the lowest level first-rank spirit treasure, it was still very valuable. In the Dachu dynasty's black market, it was impossible to buy it without hundreds of inferior quality yuan stones. With this silver saber, this young master's battle prowess will increase by at least 30%. Slightly suppressing the ecstasy in his heart, Fei Ren couldn't help but take out the silver blade from the ring. He then held it tightly in his hand and waved it up and down for a while, feeling the power of the spirit treasure itself. Bee-blade, so this blade is called Bee-sting. Fei Ren sheathed the saber and stood there. Out of the corner of his eye, he saw 2 lines of small characters engraved on the handle of the saber. Looking closely, he was surprised to see the words Bee-sting. Moreover, this silver saber had a sharp blade and a slender body. It indeed looked like a bee-sting. It seems that Guohuai is really training me as a direct disciple. I will remember this. Putting the bee-sting blade back into his ring, Fei Ren's face was full of emotions. Ever since he became Guohuai's disciple, Guohuai seemed to value him a lot. Not only did he give him pills and yuan stones, but he also gave him a first-rank spirit treasure for free. If he didn't have the title of inner disciple, people who didn't know him would think that Fei Ren was Guohuai's illegitimate son. Although Fei Ren was vengeful and hated evil, he also deeply understood the principle of repaying the kindness of a drop of water with a gushing spring. Now that he had become Guohuai's disciple, if he had the chance in the future, he would definitely find a way to repay this favor. After putting away the wasp bayonet, Fei Ren didn't slack off. Instead, he started to practice the Black Tortoise Immortality scripture. Now, he had already practiced the 100 snake hands to the great success stage. However, he was still far from reaching the consummate stage. It would take him some time to make a breakthrough. As for his own cultivation, he had no choice but to focus on the practice of the Black Tortoise Immortality scripture. Blue Sky Peak, inside the house. The black tortoise transforms into force, attaining immortality. Fei Ren sat cross-legged on the couch, his hands circulating the secret art. At the same time, he directed strands of yuan power to gather in his dantian. The surrounding air was filled with a visible yuan power aura, and he quickly entered into a state of cultivation. After an unknown period of time, Fei Ren finally slowly exhaled a mouthful of turbid air as his eyes flickered. The Black Tortoise Immortality scripture, Great Success stage. Feeling the large amount of yuan power that was once again overflowing in his body, Fei Ren lightly lifted his left hand. In the next instant, a heavy palm struck towards the earth wall beside him. The biting cold yuan power mixed with the palm force instantly shattered the earth wall into pieces. The Black Tortoise Immortality scripture has reached the Great Success stage. Coupled with the 100 snake hands, my current strength isn't inferior to the 10th level of the body refinement stage. Coupled with the Grade 1 Spirit Treasure Wasp Bayonet, practitioners below the Middle Unity stage are simply no match for me. A trace of confidence flashed across his eyes. Fei Ren's face was slightly joyful. After this period of cultivation, although his cultivation hadn't made a breakthrough, his overall strength had increased by quite a bit compared to the time when he fought with Wang Lingyun. Bang bang! Just as Fei Ren ended his cultivation, a crisp knocking sound suddenly came from outside the courtyard. Someone's here. Seeing this scene, Fei Ren immediately stood up. At the same time, he flew out and arrived outside the courtyard. Outside the courtyard, a tall figure stood quietly. The person who came was a gray-robed youth carrying a snow-white broadsword. It was Feng Hui. Feng Hui, it's you. Seeing that it was Feng Hui, Fei Ren was stunned. Ever since he defeated Wang Lingyun, the two hadn't seen each other for a long time. Brother Fei's kindness, this one can't thank you enough. Seeing that Fei Ren had finally appeared, Feng Hui knelt down on one knee without saying a word. Then, he fiercely kowtowed a few times with a determined expression. Feng Hui, what are you doing? Rubbing his nose, Fei Ren helped Feng Hui up with a helpless expression on his face. First, Chen Tingting had thanked him, and now, Feng Hui had come to repay her kindness. If one didn't know better, they would have thought that he had become some kind of savior who had saved the world. Although Wang Lingyun was saved, he's already a cripple. From now on, his martial cultivation will be stagnant. It's only a matter of time before I surpass him. There's hope for revenge for my brother's death. All of this is thanks to Brother Fei's help. Slowly getting up, Feng Hui spoke with an emotional tone. Although he didn't think highly of Fei Ren at first and was even a little worried, the reversal of the battle surprised Feng Hui. Fei Ren's strength had far exceeded his imagination. Not only did he master a level 2 martial art, but he also didn't die from the attack of a level 1 talisman. This wasn't something an ordinary level 7 body refinement realm martial artist could do. That's because he sought his own death. You don't have to thank me. Back then, Wang Lingyun could casually destroy other people's dantian and cultivation. Now, the tables have turned. Even if I didn't do it, someone else would have done it. In the world of martial artists, the law of the jungle is true. However, one shouldn't be too arrogant. This grandson was too arrogant. He deserved to die. Waving his hand, Fei-Ren said calmly as if he was talking about a trivial matter. Brother Fei's words aren't without reason. If my brother knew this in the underworld, he would definitely be able to rest in peace. Hearing this, Fang Hui deeply agreed. Oh right, this time I came here to ask for Brother Fei's help. As if suddenly remembering something, Fang Hui cupped his hands and said, "What's the matter?" Seeing that Fang Hui finally got to the point, Fei-Ren's face turned serious. "Brother Fei, you should know that I'm not from Wu-An town. I'm from Tianshui town, which is hundreds of miles away. Tianshui town is different from Wu-An town. There are 3 major forces in Tianshui town. They are the Xie family, the Mad Blade sect, and the Fang family behind me. Every 3 years, Tianshui town will hold a hunting meet under the promotion of the 3 major forces. Through the results of the hunting meet, the benefits will be divided. The main purpose of the hunting meet is to hunt various magical beasts. The participants are basically the young geniuses of the various major forces. At the same time, the young geniuses who perform outstandingly will also receive rewards from the 3 major forces, Fang Hui explained slowly. He seemed to want to say more but stopped at the end. You want me to help the Fang family? Hearing this, Fei-Ren more or less understood the purpose of Fang Hui's visit. Brother Fei, to be honest, I'm just a disciple of a branch of the Fang family. I don't have much status in the family. If Brother Fei is willing to help me, all the rewards from the hunting meet will belong to you alone. I won't take a single cent from you. Nodding, Fang Hui opened his mouth again. What are you trying to achieve by doing this? Narrowing his eyes, Fei-Ren's face was filled with doubt. My mother was originally a servant girl in the Fang family. She was unexpectedly favored by the Lord Patriarch and gave birth to me and my brother. Now that my brother has committed suicide, my mother became depressed and died of illness. As long as I can obtain victory in the hunting meet, I will have the opportunity to bury her in the Fang family's ancestral grave and give her a proper status. Shaking his head, Fang Hui's face was filled with determination and his tone was resolute. Chapter 39. What do I get for helping you? Fei-Ren didn't beat around the bush with Fang Hui and went straight to the point. Brother Fei, don't worry. The Heavenly Water Town's hunting meet is held once every 3 years. The ranking is based on the results of hunting magical beasts. If you can squeeze into the top 10, you'll be rewarded handsomely. There's no lack of origin stones, pills, weapons, and armors. The top 3 will even be rewarded with spiritual treasures. If Brother Fei is willing to help me, I won't take any of the rewards. Fang Hui wasn't surprised when he saw Fei-Ren asking for his conditions. After all, humans die for wealth and birds die for food. Although he had some friendship with Fei-Ren, it was impossible for him to ask for Fei-Ren's help for free. I can help you, but Heavenly Water Town is far away from Wu-An town. We'll have to think about it at length. After thinking for a while, Fei-Ren finally nodded. After all, Fang Hui said that the hunting meet would reward him handsomely. It was really hard for him to refuse. Thank you, Brother Fei. I'll leave for the clan tomorrow. On the way, I'll explain to Brother Fei the situation of the various factions in Heavenly Water Town in detail. Seeing that Fei-Ren had agreed, Fang Hui secretly heaved a sigh of relief. He immediately cupped his fists and said, The next day, blue sky peaked. Dawn broke. Fei-Ren had just gotten out of bed and left the house when he saw Fang Hui's figure appear outside the courtyard. It seemed that he had been waiting there for a long time. Let's go. After washing his face with cold water, Fei-Ren appeared to be much more energetic. He then carried the wasp bayonet on his back, pushed open the door, and stepped out. Some of the clothes and miscellaneous items that he had brought with him on this trip were thrown into the low-level spirit ring. Although the low-level spirit ring only had a storage space of a few dozen square meters, Feiren had 2 low-level spirit rings, one from Snake 5 and one from Guohuai. It was more than enough to store some clothes and miscellaneous items. Along the way, Feiren learned from Fang Hui about the current division of power in Tianshui Town and its origins. Like Wuan Town, Tianshui Town was one of the towns in Qingyang County. 100 years ago, when the Dachu dynasty was first established, Tianshui Town was just a small village. In order to strengthen the borders, the imperial court stationed a group of soldiers and horses here. After a long time, it became a small town. Celestial Water Town had 3 major powers. Among them, the Xie clan was the leader. They had been passed down for hundreds of years and had a solid foundation that was comparable to a second-rate power. There were no less than 5 Zhonghe experts in the clan. As for the other 2 major powers, they were slightly weaker. They were the Mad Blade sect and the Fang clan. If the Xie family is so powerful, why do they still want to participate in the hunting meet? Can't they just use force to snatch the resources? Riding a black-haired white horse, Feiren was puzzled. At the same time, he looked at Fang Hui who was beside him. The journey to Tianshui Town was about a few hundred miles. It was a long journey, and traveling on foot consumed too much origin energy. Feiren was fine, but Fang Hui was only at the 4th level of the body refinement realm. His origin energy could not support such a long journey, so the 2 of them rode fast horses instead. The black-haired white horse under Feiren's feet was the offspring of a normal white horse and a mortal-level magic beast. Not only could it travel 100 miles in a day, but it also did not have a high demand for fodder. On the black market, each of these black-haired white horses was worth at least 100 taels of silver. Compared to the black-haired white horse under Feiren, the horse under Fang Hui's feet was a little shabby. It was just a normal white horse that could be bought at some horse markets for a few taels of silver. Brother Fei may not know, but although the Xie family is powerful, it is not the only family in Tianshui Town. Facing Feiren's question, Fang Hui shook his head and laughed. The Xie family has 5 middle unity experts, and the strongest among them is the family head of the Xie family, Xie Xian. Xie Xian's origin energy cultivation is at the 4th level of the middle unity realm, but the other 2 family heads are not weak either. The head of the Wild Blade sect, Li Guangdao, and the head of the Fang family, Fang Xing, are both at the 4th level of the middle unity realm. Their strength is at the same level as Xie Xian. So it seems that the Xie family's foundation is in the younger generation. After thinking for a while, Feiren opened his mouth again. That's right, other than the head of the Wild Blade sect, Li Guangdao, there is only one other middle unity expert. Our Fang family is about the same. Other than the head of the family, there are only 2 middle unity experts in the family. They are the head elder and the head of the disciplinary hall. In terms of foundation, the Wild Blade sect and the Fang family are not as good as the Xie family. However, if the 2 join forces, they can contend against the Xie family. In order to divide the resources without causing an all-out conflict, the 3 families used the hunting meat as a method to divide the resources without using force, and also to train the younger generation. Nodding his head, Fang Hui explained slowly. The hunting meat is not as simple as killing demonic beasts, right? After pondering for a moment, Fei Ren's eyes shone with a cold light. Since the hunting meet was a competition between the younger generation of the 3 families, there was bound to be a lot of bloodshed. After all, demonic beasts were not like human martial artists. Their intelligence was not high, and they were violent and bloodthirsty. Moreover, in the process of hunting demonic beasts, it was inevitable that they would be attacked by the disciples of the other families. That's right, in every hunting meet, the 3 families would lose some people. Most of them died in the conflict, and only a small number of people were killed because they could not defeat the demonic beast. However, those who survived were all elite disciples, deeply understanding, Fang Hui's face became serious. It was because the hunting meat was dangerous that he wanted to rope in Fei Ren to help. Otherwise, with his strength, he would not be able to achieve good results in the hunting meat. Being able to keep his life was already good enough. Interesting, as he spoke, Fei Ren began to look forward to the Celestial Water Town's big hunting meat. His cultivation had already reached the 7th level of the body refinement stage, and he was only a step away from the 8th level of the body refinement stage. His strength was enough to crush any martial artist below the middle unity stage. Although the Xie family in Sky Water Town was a second-rate force and had many powerful warriors under their command, Fei Ren was confident that he would not lose to anyone when it came to the battle strength of the younger generation. As for the Wild Blade sect and the Fang family, they were nothing in his eyes. A day later, Fei Ren and Fang Hui finally arrived at Tianshui Town. Looking from afar, Tianshui Town was a peaceful and prosperous scene. From time to time, caravans and horses would come and go. Similarly located at the foot of the Hengduan mountain range, Tianshui Town was more prosperous than Wuan Town due to its location on the main road. The overall strength of the martial artists was also stronger. "Brother Fei, if you don't mind, you can stay at my house for a while." After entering the town, Fang Hui took Fei Ren to the Fang family's residence. As one of the 3 major families in Tianshui Town, the Fang family's residence could be said to be huge. The area was at least a few hundred acres. There were various ancient buildings in the residence, and at the main entrance, there were 2 young guards standing guard. Fang family's main entrance. "Stop! Who are you?" Seeing that Fei Ren and Fang Hui were walking towards them, one of the young guards stepped forward and shouted out an order. "I am Fang Hui, this is my friend." Taking out a jade pendant, Fang Hui's face was calm, as if he was already used to it. "So it's young Master Fang Hui, I apologize for my rudeness, please come in." Seeing the jade pendant in Fang Hui's hand, the young guard's face froze. Then, he quickly retreated to the side with a respectful expression. "Old song, this kid is just a young master born of a concubine, why are you so respectful to him?" Just after Fang Hui and Fei Ren left, another young guard whispered to his companion, seemingly disapproving of Fang Hui's actions. "You and I are both guards of the Fang family. Even if he's a young master born of a concubine, his status is still above ours. It's best if we don't cause any trouble. Moreover, this kid Fang Hui has joined Wuan Town's Iron Sect. His future achievements will definitely surpass ours." Glancing at the direction where Fang Hui and Fei Ren left, the young guard who stopped them earlier sighed and said emotionally, "Old song, what you said makes sense, let's just stand guard." Hearing this, the young guard also nodded his head, as if he deeply agreed with this. Chapter 40. There were quite a few buildings in the Fang estate, and Fang Hui's residence was in a small courtyard in the north of the central part of the estate. Next to the courtyard was a side room. Although it looked simple and crude, it was still quite natural and elegant. At this time, a few servants were cleaning the place. "Those 2 guards didn't seem to take you seriously." Fei Ren's tone was playful as he entered the mansion. "That's normal. I'm just a concubine's son, and I've been away from the family for a long time. If not for my status as the second son of the family head, I wouldn't even be able to live in this courtyard." Fang Hui sighed and pointed at the small courtyard in front of him. "Young Master Fang Hui, you're back?" Just as Fang Hui and Fei Ren stepped into the courtyard, a gray-clothed, white-haired old man hurriedly stepped forward and respectfully bowed his head. He seemed to be the leader of the servants in front of Fang Hui. "Song Bo, you've worked hard. I've been away cultivating, and you've been in charge of everything." Looking at the white-haired old man in front of him, Fang Hui nodded with a gratified expression. The white-haired old man was called Song Tuo, and he was one of the servants of the Fang family. Other than his younger brother and mother, he was also one of the closest people to Fang Hui, and had followed him for many years. Young master is too polite. This is your old servant's duty, and it's not hard work at all. It's just that the family head is too busy to take care of young master. With a sigh, the white-haired old man called Song Bo clasped his hands together, and a trace of helplessness appeared on his wrinkled old face. He's the family head, and a small character like me is naturally not worthy of his attention. Fong Hui's face was solemn, and he seemed to be disapproving of the family head that the white-haired old man spoke of. He then waved his hand, indicating for the white-haired old man to leave. Yes, young master. Hearing this, the white-haired old man also slowly left. Brother Fong, the family head of the Fong family, Fong Xing, is your father. Back then, when Wang Lingyun crippled your younger brother, he didn't stop him? Sensing the awkward atmosphere, Fei Ren dryly coughed a few times and then probed. The Fong family has many direct descendants, and the family head's wife has many children, including the gifted young family head Fong Tianyi. My brother and I are just concubines born of a maid, and we're dispensable people. Why would he care about us? Since the day my brother committed suicide, I understood that only by becoming stronger can I get everything I want, including revenge. All other external forces are useless. Fong Hui shook his head and mocked himself. It seemed that he did not have a good impression of his biological father, Fong Xing. So this is a large family. After stretching his muscles, Fei Ren seemed to be deep in thought. At this moment, he couldn't help but recall his past. Before he became a beggar, Fei Ren's fate wasn't too bad. His parents were ordinary farmers in Wuan town. Unfortunately, their good days didn't last long before they both died of illness, leaving behind the 9-year-old Fei Ren. Brother Fei, I'll have to trouble you to stay here for this period of time. There's still a week before the hunting meet begins. I'll come find you then. Taking a deep breath, Fong Hui collected his expression and looked at Fei Ren again. Okay, nodding, Fei Ren didn't say anything else. On the streets of Tianshui town, there were many martial artists and carriages, and there were also many stalls along the way. If one was lucky, they might be able to find some valuable treasures. After cultivating for a while in Fong Hui's courtyard, Fei Ren left the mansion and went to the market. I still have some silver on me, let's see if I can get some good stuff. Sweeping his gaze across the stalls on both sides of the street, Fei Ren thought to himself. After this period of practice, he had already used up all the low-grade yuan stones and pills in his possession. The only valuable things he had on him were the 100 snake hands, the first-grade spirit treasure bayonet that Guo Huai had given him, and more than 50 taels of silver. In the martial arts world, although primordial stones were a hard currency, silver and gold were also popular, but their value was not as high as primordial stones. In the Dachu dynasty, 100 silver pieces could be exchanged for 1 tael of gold, and 10 taels of gold could be exchanged for 1 inferior primordial stone. However, there was a price but no supply. Take a look, this is a first-rate healing elixir. It can improve blood circulation and nourish marrow. It can cure any illness. This Tiger's Roar dagger is a top-tier weapon. Its power is no weaker than a level 1 spirit treasure. The blade can cut through iron like mud. It only costs 10 inferior primordial stones. It's absolutely fair. Walking the Jianghu, how can you not have a good martial art? A level 1 martial art, Qi condensation technique, only costs 5 inferior primordial stones. It's definitely worth it. From time to time, the sound of hawking could be heard in the market. Some body-refining realm martial artists were setting up stalls on both sides of the street, each peddling their own goods. No wonder everyone can cultivate Qi condensation technique. It's already so common. Fei Ren's gaze turned, and finally landed on a middle-aged man's stall. His face revealed a bitter smile. When he first entered the Iron Palm Gate, the martial art he cultivated was Qi condensation technique. Although this martial art could slightly increase one's cultivation speed, compared to the Black Tortoise longevity scripture, it was simply trash. Brother, how much is this thing? After strolling around the market, Fei Ren's footsteps slowly came to a stop at a stall. He then raised his hand and picked up a simple and broken jade pendant from the stall. Little brother, you want this? I stole this from a ruin, it's not anything valuable. If you want it, I'll give it to you for 50 silvers. The owner of the stall was a middle-aged man with sideburns. When he saw that Fei Ren was interested in this broken jade pendant, he immediately grinned and said in an indifferent tone, 50 silvers? Fei Ren's eyebrows slightly furrowed, as if the other party's exorbitant demand made him unhappy. He slowly put down the broken jade pendant in his hand. Brother, are you kidding me? It's just a mere jade pendant. If you sold it to a pawn shop, it wouldn't even be worth 10 silvers. This is a piece of jewelry that I accidentally stole from a ruin. Although it's not worth much, I still put in some effort. How about this? If little brother wants it, it's only 30 silvers, how about it? Seeing that Fei Ren was not a novice who did not know the ways of the world, the bearded middle-aged man restrained his expression and once again extended 3 fingers. His cultivation level was at the 5th level of the body refinement stage. Although 30 silver taels was not much, it was enough to buy a few meals of medicinal cuisine to nourish his body. At most 15 silvers. Shaking his head, Fei Ren's expression was resolute, showing that he would not relent. Forget it, I'll give you 15 silvers, consider it as me doing you a favor. Seeing this scene, the middle-aged man with sideburns also gave up on bargaining. Originally, he wanted to take advantage of the fact that Fei Ren was interested in this broken jade pendant to ruthlessly extort him, but now, his plan had failed. Moreover, the middle-aged man with sideburns had already appraised it. There was nothing special about this broken jade pendant in front of him. It could only be used as a decoration, and if sold to a pawn shop, its value would not exceed 10 silvers. Now that he sold it to Fei Ren for 15 silvers, it could be considered a small profit. Many thanks. Accepting the broken jade pendant, Fei Ren's expression was calm, but a trace of joy flashed across his eyes. Although the bearded middle-aged man couldn't see anything special about the jade pendant, Fei Ren was different. He had just sensed that there was another world inside this broken jade pendant. It seemed that there was a martial art hidden inside. As for its specific rank, he didn't know. He could only rely on his luck. Chapter 41. After buying the broken jade pendant, Fei Ren did not immediately return to the Feng mansion. Instead, he continued to stroll around the market. Tianshui Town, a street corner in the market. You have good eyesight. If I'm not wrong, this broken jade pendant hides a martial art. At this moment, a man's voice suddenly sounded from the side. Who's there? Looking towards the source of the voice, Fei Ren also slowly came to a stop. His eyes were solemn as he saw a young man dressed in a yellow robe, with a long saber hanging from his waist, quietly standing in front of him. At this moment, his face was filled with a smile, causing one to not be wary of him. I'm Li Long from the Wild Blade sect, the young man in the yellow robe said with a smile. So you're a disciple of the Wild Blade sect. I've heard a lot about you. After seeing who it was, Fei Ren calmed down and politely cupped his hands. The other party was able to follow him silently, so his cultivation was definitely not weak. Now that he was in Tianshui Town, there were many people around. If it was not necessary, he did not want to kill people on the street. Looking at your appearance, you don't seem to be from Tianshui Town? Facing the cautious Fei Ren, the young man in the yellow robe named Li Long did not mind. He smiled again and said with a kind tone, I'm indeed not from Tianshui Town. I'm just a rogue cultivator. Facing Li Long's probing, Fei Ren also replied calmly. Li Long's cultivation was the same as his, at the 7th level of the body refinement realm. He was also a disciple of the Wild Blade sect. As the saying goes, a strong dragon cannot defeat a snake in its own territory. Although he could easily deal with Li Long in front of him, provoking the Wild Blade sect would not be worth it unless they were after his broken jade pendant. Brother, don't worry. I'm not interested in your broken jade pendant. I just want to be friends with you. There aren't many people in Tianshui Town who can be called a master appraiser. I, Li Long, am one. Brother, you are also one. Seeing that Fei Ren was still full of hostility, Li Long spread his hands and shrugged. His face faintly revealed a trace of helplessness. Fei Ren, Brother Li didn't come all the way here just to make friends, did he? After announcing his name, Fei Ren withdrew his aura and let down his guard a little. After a few probing, he could tell that the other party did not have any enmity. Haha, Brother Fei Ren is indeed a smart person. After letting out a long laugh, Li Long opened his mouth again and said, "The hunting grand meet is in a week's time. For a young genius like Brother Fei Ren to come to Tianshui Town, it is likely that he is also here for the hunting grand meet. You want to rope me in?" Fei Ren was not a fool. He immediately understood Li Long's intentions. That's right. In the hunting grand meet a week later, if Brother Fei is willing to join my Mad Blade Sex team, I am willing to give you half of the ranking rewards. Nodding his head, Li Long did not waste any time and directly stated his conditions. Oh right, there are 20 inferior grade yuan stones in here. Please accept this small gift as a token of my respect. As if afraid that Fei Ren would not agree, Li Long took out a gray pouch from his spirit ring. It was round and bulging. Opening it, one could see that there were 20 inferior grade yuan stones. I'm sorry, but I cannot join your Mad Blade Sex team. Without the slightest hesitation, Fei Ren shook his head and rejected the offer. Why? After being stunned for a moment, Li Long's expression slightly changed, as if he hadn't expected this. After all, he had offered such generous conditions, yet Fei Ren had rejected it without even thinking. I promised someone that I would help him in the hunting grand meet. This is also the reason why I came to Tianshui Town. I hope Brother Li does not mind. Glancing at Li Long in front of him, Fei Ren's tone was neither fast nor slow. Although the other party had offered a generous offer, it did not meet his expectations. In this hunting grand meet, Fei Ren was aiming for first place. A mere half of the ranking rewards could not even enter his eyes. Is it someone from the Xie family? Seemingly unwilling, Li Long gritted his teeth. However, when he saw Fei Ren shake his head, he immediately asked, "Could it be that guy Fong Tianyi?" Nope. Waving his hand, Fei Ren's expression was calm. Oh well, since Brother Fei is unwilling to help, then forget it. These inferior grade yuan stones will be given to Brother Fei as a token of friendship. I only hope that on the day of the hunting grand meet, Brother Fei will not attack my Mad Blade Sex disciples. With a sigh, Li Long threw the gray pouch in his hand to Fei Ren and cupped his hands in greeting. Fei Ren's cultivation level was at the 7th level of the body refinement stage. Even among the younger generation of the 3 major factions in Tianshui Town, he was not weak. Even Li Long was extremely wary of him. After all, among the younger generation, other than the Fong family's young clan leader Fong Tianyi and the Xie family's young clan leader Xie Xuanji, Li Long did not place anyone else in his eyes. Since Brother Li owes me a favor, I naturally will not take the initiative to attack, but if the Mad Blade Sex disciples take the initiative to cause trouble, then it will be hard to say. Accepting the gray pouch, Fei Ren nodded his head. 20 inferior grade yuan stones was not a small sum. It would be a waste to not take it. Right now, he was willing to do Li Long a favor. Brother Fei, don't worry. That will definitely be the case. I will instruct my subordinates, until we meet again. Cupping his hands together, Li Long turned and left in a hurry. I earned 20 inferior grade yuan stones for free. Looks like Li Long and the Mad Blade Sex people are easy to deal with. Weighing the heavy gray pouch in his hand, Fei Ren's delicate face revealed a trace of a smile. With these 20 inferior grade yuan stones and the help of the Black Tortoise Longevity scripture, his yuan power cultivation level breaking through to the 8th level of the body refinement stage was just around the corner. After strolling around the market for a while, Fei Ren returned to the Fong mansion without any gains. Coincidentally, he bumped into Fong Hui, who was in the middle of training. "Brother Fong, I just met someone from the Mad Blade sect on the street. I think he was called Li Long or something. Looks like it won't be easy for us to win this year's hunting meet." Walking to Fong Hui's side, Fei Ren casually said with a playful tone. "Li Long? He is the young clan leader of the Mad Blade sect. His strength is not ordinary." Hearing this, Fong Hui also stopped training, his face full of shock. So he is the young clan leader of the Mad Blade sect, no wonder. Rubbing his chin, Fei Ren had a thoughtful expression on his face. After all, the other party was able to give out 20 inferior grade yuan stones at once. Such a generous gift, his background must not be small. Other than this Li Long, the Xie families Xie Xuanji and the young clan leader Fong Tianyi are the top figures of the younger generation in Tianshui town. Their strength is valiant, even Wang Lingyun back then was no match for them. With my current strength, I am simply no match for them. If I want to get a good ranking in the hunting meet, I will definitely have to clash with these people. That is why I asked for Brother Fei's help." Sighing, Fong Hui lamented. His talent was not weak, reaching the 4th level of the body refinement stage before the age of 16. However, compared to the top geniuses like Li Long, Xie Xuanji and Fong Tianyi, Fong Hui was still lacking. After all, these people were at least at the 7th level of the body refinement stage. Chapter 42. How many people are participating in this year's hunt? Fei Ren asked in a low voice, ignoring Fong Hui's sigh. Based on past records, there should be at least 50 people in the younger generation of the 3 factions. However, for the sake of killing magical beasts as quickly as possible, most of the participants would form teams. It's rare for them to fight alone. As a descendant of the Fong clan and a young master born of a concubine, Fong Hui was naturally well aware of this situation. Every year, Tianshui town's hunt would be filled with heroes. If they did not invite Fei Ren, this powerful external aid, even if Fong Hui's cultivation had broken through to the 5th level of the body refinement realm, he would not have much hope. After all, it was too difficult to fight his way into the top 10, and none of his opponents were simple. The hunt used a point system. Every time a magical beast was killed, a corresponding point would be awarded, and the final ranking would be determined by the total points of the team. Without Fei Ren's help, with Fong Hui's cultivation, he would only be able to kill a few common rank magical beasts at most. These points were not even worth mentioning. From the looks of it, the 3 strongest teams in this year's hunt should be the teams led by Xie Xuanji, Fong Tianyi, and Li Long. As long as I can surpass them, I can win this year's hunt. Rubbing his chin, Fei Ren said in deep thought. That's right. According to the rules of the hunt, each team can only have 4 members at most. The younger generation that can join Xie Xuanji, Fong Tianyi, and Li Long's teams must be at least at the 6th level of the body refinement realm and belong to the top of the class. Hunting common rank magical beasts is not a problem for them. Because of this, no matter how many magical beasts those normal teams kill, the points they get will be far less than theirs. Being able to squeeze into the top 10 is already very good. Nodding his head, Fong Hui deeply agreed. Currently, his team only had 1 member, Fei Ren. Although Fei Ren's strength was incomparably strong, there were only the 2 of them. If they wanted to quickly kill magical beasts and obtain points, they would need to rope in 2 more teammates. I see, but my speed of killing magical beasts is not necessarily slower than theirs. Fei Ren grinned as if he already had a plan in mind. The location of the big hunting meet was located at the periphery of the Hengduan mountain range. Within a radius of 500 miles, Killing a low-level common rank magic beast would give you 1 point, a mid-level common rank magic beast would give you 5 points, and a high-level common rank magic beast would give you 10 points. As for a top-level common rank magic beast, it was even more exaggerated. Killing one would give you 50 points. The final ranking would be determined by the accumulated points. At that time, the referee would count the heads or corpses of the magical beasts obtained by each team, and calculate the accumulated points and ranking. There would also be the leaders of the 3 great forces present at the scene. So, there was no way to cheat. Brother Fei, just the 2 of us? Fang Hui seemed to have read Fei Ren's mind. He paused for a moment, then hesitated. More people won't do us any good. Instead, they'll drag us down. 2 people are enough. As long as you do as I say, Brother Fang, it won't be a problem for you to get into the top 3 in the hunting meet. If you're lucky, it's not impossible for you to get first place. With a faint smile, Fei Ren also patted Fang Hui's shoulder as he advised him. It was obvious that he had made up his mind. All right, when the time comes, I'll rely on Brother Fei. Seeing Fei Ren's calm and collected face, the uneasiness in Fang Hui's heart dissipated. He was only at the 4th level of the body refinement realm. At most, he could act as a guide in this hunting meet. Back then, even Wang Lingyun, who was so arrogant, was crippled by Fei Ren. There was no reason for him to not believe in Fei Ren. Moreover, this hunting meet itself was a gamble. If he won, Fang Hui himself would become famous and receive the attention and training of the Fang family. His deceased mother would also be moved to the Fang family's ancestral grave. Even if he lost the gamble, he would not lose anything. After bidding farewell to Fang Hui, Fei Ren returned to his house. At the same time, he took out the broken jade pendant that he had bought at the market from his spirit ring. I wonder what kind of martial arts is hidden within it. Fei Ren gripped the broken jade pendant tightly in his palm. In the next moment, Fei Ren circulated his yuan power and crushed the broken jade pendant. As the broken jade pendant turned into powder and scattered, a brown-yellow remnant scroll was revealed. The remnant scroll was extremely dark and dirty. It seemed to be made out of parchment paper, and a few lines of small black characters could be faintly seen on it. It really is a martial art. Seeing the parchment scroll appear, Fei Ren's face turned cold. Unfettered blade technique. It's actually a level 2 blade technique. The heavens are really helping me. Gently opening the parchment scroll, Fei Ren's face turned from shock to joy. The parchment scroll in front of him actually recorded a level 2 martial art. Moreover, it was a blade technique. It was very suitable for the current Fei Ren. Currently, the wasp bayonet in Fei Ren's hand was a level 1 spirit treasure. Unfortunately, he did not have a suitable blade technique martial art. He was unable to fully display the power of the wasp bayonet. The unfettered blade technique in front of him was no different from sending charcoal in snowy weather. It just happened to fill the gap in his strength. The unfettered blade technique was a level 2 martial art. If Fei Ren successfully cultivated it, coupled with the support of the level 1 spirit treasure wasp bayonet, its power would be close to a level 3 martial art. It was much stronger than the black tiger palm and 100 snake hands. It was comparable to a trump card. Unfettered blade technique, the nature is free and unfettered. It has no desires and no desires. Its attack is like an eagle in the sky. Its defense is like a boulder in 10,000 seas. Fei Ren silently recited all the carefree blade art recorded on the remnant parchment in his heart. The next moment, he circulated his yuan power and transformed it into a wisp of flame, burning the remnant parchment into a pile of black ashes. If I can master this level 2 martial art, I can even put up a fight against a half-step middle unite stage expert. I might even have a chance to kill him. Slowly pulling out the wasp bayonet from his back, Fei Ren gently exhaled a mouthful of turbid qi. His expression was firm. There was still a week before the big hunting meet. During this period of time, besides cultivating the Black Tortoise Immortality scripture and the Unfettered Blade technique, he could not neglect the 100 Snake Hands and his Yuan power cultivation. These would affect Fei Ren's overall strength. Chop! With a loud shout, Fei Ren swung the wasp bayonet in his hand forward. Rolling Yuan power wrapped around the edge of the blade, emitting a cold light. In the next moment, dozens of blade chi burst out and swept out. Immediately, the stone wall beside him was torn into pieces, leaving only dust on the ground. What a powerful blade chi! Is this the power of the unfettered blade technique? Withdrawing his blade, Fei Ren's face was filled with shock. Although he had borrowed the power of the wasp bayonet, the unfettered blade technique had just broken through to the beginner level. Its power was enough to tear apart a stone wall that was several meters tall. It was enough to show the power of the unfettered blade technique. What a powerful blade technique! If I had mastered this technique, I would not have had to go through so much trouble to deal with that grandson Wang Lingyun. I could have just chopped him up and done with it. Feeling the power of the unfettered blade technique, Fei Ren took a deep breath. Then, he waved the wasp bayonet again and cultivated the unfettered blade technique in the small courtyard in front of him. From time to time, he would slash out a few sharp blade chi in the air, bringing about gusts of whistling wind. Chapter 43. Within the courtyard, waves of blade chi swept out. Unfettered slash! Fei Ren bellowed, and in the next moment, he flicked his wrist, and a huge snow-white blade chi burst out from the tip of the wasp's stinger. It was like a roaring dragon, and immediately tore everything in its path into pieces, leaving behind only a mess. As expected of the ultimate move of the unfettered blade technique. The power of this unfettered slash is something that even a 10th level body refinement stage martial artist cannot match. Heavily exhaling a mouthful of turbid air, Fei Ren's eyes sharpened as a sense of ecstasy welled up in his heart. After this period of training, he had finally mastered the level 2 unfettered blade technique to initial mastery. Its power had increased by another level. As for the unfettered slash, it was currently one of Fei Ren's trump cards. It consumed a lot of Yuan power, and he would not use it unless he had no other choice. Swoosh! Just as Fei Ren finished his cultivation, Fang Hui rushed over from outside the courtyard. His expression hurried. "Brother Fei, were you training before?" Looking at the mess in front of him, Fang Hui swallowed his saliva. His face was filled with shock. Fei Ren's destructive power was simply beyond his imagination. "Yes. I did not stop in time. Brother, please forgive me." Seeing Fang Hui step into the courtyard, Fei Ren slowly sheathed his wasp bayonet and placed it behind his back. His handsome face revealed a trace of apology. After all, this courtyard was Fang Hui's residence. Now that he had caused such a huge commotion while practicing his blade technique and almost destroyed the courtyard, it was indeed somewhat embarrassing. It's alright. I'll get Uncle Song and the servants to clean up in a bit." Hearing this, Fang Hui's expression gradually returned to normal. He waved his hand and laughed dryly. "Brother Fang, why are you looking for me?" Stepping forward, Fei Ren probed. There was still a week before the big hunting meet. Fang Hui did not stay in the house to train and instead ran around. There must be a reason for this. "Sigh, it's because of that kid Fang Shengli," Fang Hui shrugged and helplessly said. "Fang Shengli?" Fei Ren's face was filled with doubt. "I forgot to mention that Fang Shengli is a descendant of the Fang family. His cultivation base is not bad, and he used to be good friends with me. This time, when he heard that I found a strong external aid to participate in the big hunting meet, he wanted to join my team no matter what," Fang Hui said slowly. "You promised him?" Fei Ren asked again with a surprised expression on his face. "That's not true. However, after I rejected this kid, he became flustered and exasperated and insisted on coming over to compete with you. He said that he wanted to see if your strength was really that powerful. I couldn't stop him. I hope that Brother Fei will show mercy. Feng Hui shook his head helplessly and smiled awkwardly at the same time. Wherever he is, I don't mind giving him some pointers. Fei Ren rubbed his chin as a playful smile appeared on his face. He had just finished cultivating the carefree blade technique, and someone had come to him to be his punching bag. He would naturally not let go of such a delightful opportunity. Feng Hui, I heard that you found a strong external aid. Why are you hiding and not showing yourself? At this moment, a loud male voice came from outside the courtyard. In the next moment, a figure flashed and a half-naked black-haired youth stepped into the courtyard. The black-haired youth had a strong physique. His hands were tied with heavy boxing bands, and his face was full of fighting spirit. This kid is here. Seeing the black-haired youth suddenly appear, Feng Hui's face froze, and he consciously retreated to the side. You are Feng Shengli? Looking at the black-haired youth in front of him, Fei Ren's face was slightly surprised. The black-haired youth had a strong physique. Although he didn't look old, his height was close to 7 feet, giving people a sense of oppression. His cultivation base was also not weak, having reached the 5th level of the body refinement realm. Although he was far from being comparable to Fei Ren, he was still stronger than Feng Hui. That's me. You are the strong external aid that Feng Hui invited? Facing Fei Ren's probing, the black-haired youth named Feng Shengli nodded confidently. Then, he looked at Fei Ren and said in a probing tone. Although the Fei Ren in front of him was about the same age as him, the aura around him was deep like an abyss, as if there was an invisible barrier blocking him. Even if Feng Shengli used all his strength and released his origin energy to probe, it was useless. Strange, I can't see through his cultivation base. Could it be? Thinking of this, Feng Shengli's eyes narrowed. His face suddenly became serious, as if he could see that Fei Ren was not simple. I heard that you want to have a spar with me? Although he could kill Feng Shengli with a raise of his hand, Fei Ren didn't want to use his full strength in front of Feng Hui. If possible, he didn't mind giving him some pointers. I am Feng Shengli, may I know your name? Seeing that Fei Ren's strength was not ordinary, Feng Shengli's attitude became much more respectful. He cupped his hands and probed. Fei Ren, make your move. Slightly nodding, Fei Ren's face was still as calm as water. Then I won't be polite. Take this. Just as he finished speaking, Feng Shengli also swung his fist at Fei Ren. Strands of origin energy wrapped around his fists. The fist strength was like a tiger's wind. Bang! Standing still, Fei Ren took Feng Shengli's fist head-on. At the same time, his left palm blasted out. A black tiger palm chi also swept out, instantly enveloping Feng Shengli's body, and the tiger's roar was endless. Not good! Failing to hit, Feng Shengli's face changed slightly. In the next moment, he stomped his feet on the ground and hurriedly retreated, barely dodging Fei Ren's black tiger palm chi. What a powerful guy! I have already used 80% of my strength, but I can't even shake his defense. Feng Shengli's face changed slightly, and he was secretly shocked. Shengli, you are not Brother Fei's match. To one side, seeing that Feng Shengli was at a disadvantage, Feng Hui also tried to dissuade him. His tone was helpless, as if he had already expected this. Feng Hui, don't interfere. I want to see what kind of ability he has. As if his competitive spirit had been aroused, Feng Shengli lightly snorted. In the next moment, he slowly removed the heavy fist bands that were tied around his hand. The origin energy on his body rose again, infinitely close to the 6th level of the body refinement stage. Bang! The fist bands fell to the ground, emitting a dull sound. It seemed that they were not light. This brat actually used such heavy fist bands to fight. So it was to train his body. Glancing at the layers of fist bands under Feng Shengli's feet, Fei Ren crossed his arms in front of his chest, his face slightly surprised. Mount Tai Crush. Without waiting for Fei Ren to make his move, Fang Xingli attacked again. His body leapt high into the air, his hands forming fists in front of his chest. In the next moment, he ferociously fell towards Fei Ren on the ground. The origin energy on his body gushed out, as if he was a human-shaped mountain, directly landing on the ground with a piercing sound. 100 Snake Hands. Facing Fang Xingli's strongest attack, Fei Ren restrained his expression. In the next moment, his left hand formed into a palm, and at the same time, his origin energy surged. In the next moment, it transformed into a dozen layers of snake shadows, and in the blink of an eye, they shot towards Fang Xingli in the air. Chapter 44. Level 2 Martial Arts. Mastery Stage. On the side, seeing Fei Ren use his best martial arts, Fang Hui's eyes widened in shock. Back at the Iron Palm Gate, Fei Ren had used this move to contend against Wang Lingyun's Vajra extermination, and was not at a disadvantage at all. Now, in less than half a month, Fei Ren's 100 snake hands had improved once again, reaching the mastery stage. His progress could be said to be godly. Bang! Rumble! Fang Xingli's elbow and fist fiercely collided with the layers of snake shadows. In the next moment, surging origin energy exploded, emitting a burst of loud, muffled sounds. Fang Xingli's body also fell backwards in a sorry state, finally landing heavily on the ground. Poochie! His body struggled to climb up from the ground. In the next moment, Fang Xingli's face paled, and he spat out a mouthful of thick blood. The origin power undulations on his body also dropped by a level. It seemed that he had suffered a serious injury in this exchange. So strong. Even if I used all my strength, I still wouldn't be his match. Where did Fang Hui find such a monster? Fang Xingli wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. He no longer had the arrogance from before, and his face was filled with shock. Looking at Fei Ren, his eyes were filled with fear. Thank you for letting me win. Easily defeating Fang Xingli in one move, Fei Ren also cupped his hands in respect, his attitude humble. I already told you, Brother Fei's strength is valiant. You are simply not his match, why ask for trouble? Seeing that Fang Xingli was defeated as expected, Fang Hui also leapt to Fang Xingli's side and gently helped him up, his tone helpless. Ha ha ha, to be able to compete with a strong opponent, even if I lose, I am happy. Isn't this also a type of training? Fang Xingli laughed, coughing up blood. Even though Fei Ren had intentionally shown mercy, his cultivation was still at the 7th level of the body refinement stage. The 100 Snake Hands was also a level 2 martial arts. Its power was not ordinary. Fang Xingli's origin power cultivation was only at the 5th level of the body refinement stage, so it was difficult for him to resist. Injuries were inevitable. Brother Fei Ren, your strength is unfathomable. I presume you have already reached the 7th level of the body refinement stage? With brother's help in this hunting meet, Fang Hui can be considered to have found someone to rely on. If nothing goes wrong, it shouldn't be a problem for him to make it into the top 10. The hunting meet is held once every 3 years, and the rewards for the top 10 are enough to make people jealous. Fang Xingli slowly opened his mouth as he took out a Tier 1 medicinal pill and swallowed it. A look of envy appeared on his face as he looked at Fang Hui. Like Fang Hui, Fang Xingli also planned to participate in the hunting meet. However, he had not found a suitable teammate for the time being. After all, the hunting meet was based on the number and level of the magical beasts killed. An individual would definitely not be able to compete with a group, regardless of combat power or efficiency. Luckily, with your cultivation level at the 5th level of the body refinement realm, you aren't considered weak in the Fang clan. It's just that your defense and speed aren't too good. Even though your attacks are overbearing, if you can't hit your opponent, it's useless. You'll only waste your origin energy, slightly nodding his head. Fei Ren also pointed out Fang Xingli's weaknesses as he slowly explained. Relying on his overwhelming strength, Fei Ren did not dodge his opponent's attack. If it was a real life and death battle, even if Fang Xingli's attacks were 10 times stronger, they would still be useless in front of Fei Ren. He would not be able to hit Fei Ren at all. This was the difference in speed. Thank you, brother, for your pointers. Hearing this, Fang Xingli took a deep breath and clasped his hands in respect. Seeing that he was easily defeated by Fei Ren, Fang Xingli was completely convinced. He did not dare to challenge Fei Ren again. After all, he was only at the 5th level of the body refinement realm, while Fei Ren's cultivation level had already reached the 7th level of the body refinement realm. This was enough to match Li Long from the Wild Blade sect, Xie Clan's young master Xie Xuanji, and Fang Clan's young master Fang Tianyi. Previously, when I exchanged blows with brother, I benefited greatly. Forgive my rudeness, I'll take my leave first. Once again clasped his hands in respect, Fang Xingli also turned and hurriedly left the courtyard. It seemed that he had gained a lot of martial insights from this battle. Brother Fei, this kid disturbed your training, I'm really sorry. After Fang Xingli left, Fang Hui also looked at Fei Ren beside him, his face revealing a trace of apology. No matter, you're actually the same as him. Although you're a concubine's young master and a branch disciple, your talent is not inferior to the other direct descendants of the Fang clan. Nobility, generals, and generals all have the guts. Not everyone is born strong. Looking meaningfully at Fang Hui, Fei Ren calmly said. Nobility, generals, and generals all have the guts. Is this Brother Fei's martial path? I understand. His gaze was deep in thought. In the next moment, a trace of fire flashed in Fang Hui's eyes, and he slowly nodded his head. The next day, in the courtyard. Carefree / Fei Ren was dressed in a black robe, his right hand holding the wasp bayonet tightly. His entire body's origin power swept out, and at this moment, he was cultivating the carefree blade technique. From time to time, he would slash out a biting cold, sharp snow-white blade chi. As the blade chi swept out, the wind within a radius of several hundred feet whistled, and the vegetation was shattered. Withdraw. Another snow-white blade chi slashed out, completely shattering a huge wooden pillar in front of him, turning it into powder. Fei Ren slowly withdrew the wasp bayonet, and at the same time, exhaled a mouthful of turbid air. It's time to break through. His eyes were bright and full of spirit. After nearly a day of cultivation, he had completely stabilized the rank 2 martial art, carefree blade technique, at the small success stage. He had also cultivated the 100 snake hands to perfection stage, and his strength had increased by a lot. Only his origin power cultivation remained stagnant. Fei Ren's origin power cultivation was at the 7th level of the body refinement realm, and was only 1 step away from the 8th level of the body refinement realm. After these days of cultivating the Black Tortoise longevity scripture, his dantian was gradually overflowing with origin power, and he was only 1 step away. As the ancient saying goes, everything is ready except for the east wind. Fei Ren still had the 20 inferior grade origin stones that Li Long gave him. Previously, because he was cultivating the carefree blade technique, he had kept them in his spirit ring and did not use them. This was the east wind that he needed to break through to the 8th level of the body refinement realm. Black Tortoise as strength, obtain the Tao and live forever. Taking out 20 inferior grade origin stones from his spirit ring, he slowly spread them out in front of him. In the next moment, Fei Ren also grabbed 1 inferior grade origin stone in each of his hands, and immediately began to cultivate the Black Tortoise longevity scripture. After a while, strands of pure origin power flowed into his dantian, and was finally completely absorbed by the refining immortal cauldron. The refining immortal cauldron was the world's one and only immortal Tao treasure. It was able to refine all things for its own use, and even origin power was no exception. The amount of origin power contained within the inferior grade origin stones was not much, but after being swallowed and refined by the refining immortal cauldron, it was able to produce several times more pure origin power. Because he held the refining immortal cauldron in his hands, Fei Ren's origin power cultivation was able to continuously break through. In the short span of half a year, he went from a powerless ordinary person to a martial artist at the 7th level of the body refinement realm. 8th level of the body refinement realm. After an unknown amount of time, the 20 inferior grade origin stones had all turned into dust. The origin power aura on Fei Ren's body was also slowly rising, like a hidden dragon in the abyss. In the next moment, he finally broke through the shackles and successfully stepped into the 8th level of the body refinement realm. I finally broke through. These inferior grade origin stones were not wasted. Licking his dry lips, Fei Ren also reached out his hand to wipe off the sweat on his forehead, and a trace of joy appeared on his handsome face. Chapter 45. After breaking through to the 8th level of the body refinement realm, Fei Ren's training came to an end. There were less than 5 days before the start of the Great Hunt. Taking advantage of these few days of free time, he went out to inquire about the situation of the 3 major powers in Tianshui Town. Tianshui Town was an important border town, located at the southwest border of the Dachu dynasty. Like Wu-An Town, it was backed by the Hengduan mountain range, where martial arts were prevalent. The only major powers in the town were the Xie clan, Fang clan, and the Wild Blade sect. The Wild Blade sect was an external power, and their leader, Li Guangdao, was not from Tianshui Town. Although the Wild Blade sect was an external power, they relied on the strength of their leader, Li Guangdao, to become one of the 3 major powers in Tianshui Town in a short 20 years. This was enough to show Li Guangdao's brilliance. Li Long, who Fei Ren had met before, was the son of the current leader of the Wild Blade sect, Li Guangdao. Like his father, Li Long was also well versed in the ways of alliances. Otherwise, he would not have spent so much money to rope in Fei Ren and make friends with various heroes. As a third-rate power, the Wild Blade sect had many disciples. Among them, the lowest-level disciple was at the 3rd level of the body refinement realm, similar to Wu-An Town's Taizhong Gate. The strongest of the younger generation was Li Long, who was at the 7th level of the body refinement realm. His overall strength was not inferior to a normal 8th level body refinement realm cultivator. Aside from the Wild Blade sect, the Fang clan's background was also not ordinary. As one of the local powers in Tianshui Town, the Fang clan had been rooted in Tianshui Town for hundreds of years. It was said that the Fang clan's ancestor joined the army in his early years as a lieutenant in the Iron Blood Army. Although the current head of the Fang clan, Fang Xing, was an expert at the 4th stage of the Middle Union realm, his strength was far inferior to that of the Fang clan's ancestor. The Fang clan's ancestor's strength had already stepped into the 7th stage of the Middle Union realm. Back then, the Fang clan was also a first-rate power, suppressing all the heroes. Both the Fang clan and the Wild Blade sect were now third-rate powers, so it was easy for Fei Ren to find out some information about them. The only exception was the Xie clan. The Xie clan was the only second-rate power in Celestial Water Town. Other than the fact that they had no less than 5 middle unity experts, Fei Ren did not know anything else about them. Let's go ask that kid Fang Hui. Fei Ren got up and walked towards Fang Hui's room. As the saying goes, know thyself and know thy enemy to be victorious in 100 battles. As long as he knew the situation of Xie Xuanji and the Xie family's disciples, Fei Ren was confident that he could defeat them one by one in the great hunting meet. Brother Fei, you want to know more about Xie Xuanji? Inside the room, Fang Hui had just finished cultivating, and his face was slightly surprised. After this period of cultivation and Fei Ren's occasional pointers, Fang Hui's cultivation level was steadily increasing. He was not far from the 5th level of the body refinement stage and would be able to break through in less than half a month. That's right. Fei Ren nodded. I've heard that Xie Xuanji is the most outstanding person in the younger generation of Heavenly Water Town. His strength is even stronger than Li Long and Fang Tianyi, and his cultivation is not inferior to the 8th level of the body refinement realm. Moreover, he once exchanged blows with a 10th level body refinement realm martial artist and was only defeated after 50 moves. He is an extremely ruthless person. Taking a deep breath, Fang Hui said with a serious face. He exchanged 50 moves with a 10th level body refinement realm martial artist before being defeated? This guy does have some ability. Hearing this, Fei Ren narrowed his eyes. Although he had broken through to the 8th level of the body refinement realm and his true strength was comparable to the half-step middle union realm, without the help of the immortal refining cauldron and the black tortoise's longevity scripture, his chances of winning against a 10th level body refinement realm martial artist were not high. Xie Xuanji being able to exchange 50 moves before being defeated showed his strength. Brother Fei, even if we can't win the great hunting meet this time, it's fine as long as we get into the top 5. We'll do our best. Fang Hui seemed to know that the difficulty was not small, so he explained again. TCH, since I promised to help you, then I'll help you to the end. We must fight for the first place in this great hunting meet. Waving his hand, Fei Ren indicated that it was fine, and a trace of determination flashed across his handsome face. The ancients said that if the enemy was strong, then he would be stronger. He actually hoped that the opponent would be stronger. On the path of martial arts, only by constantly fighting could one increase one's strength. There was not a single strong person who relied on luck to achieve a hegemony. They were all killed with real swords and spears. Unknowingly, a few days had passed, and Tianshui Town finally welcomed the start of the great hunting meet. Because of the great hunting meet, Tianshui Town was more prosperous than usual. Martial artists and rogue cultivators from all over streamed towards the town center, and there was no lack of commoners who came to watch the fun. Before the great hunting meet officially began, the younger generation of the various forces would temporarily gather in the town center. At the same time, the leaders of the 3 major forces would also appear to preside over the opening ceremony. In the town center, on a high platform, 3 figures could be seen standing quietly, their auras vigorous. Brother Fang, Brother Li, I trust you've been well since we last met. In the middle of the high platform, a middle-aged man in a blue robe grinned. The next moment, he looked at the 2 figures beside him, his tone full of politeness. The middle-aged man in a blue robe had a tall figure. Although his face was a little sallow, his eyes were very shrewd and unfathomable. He was the current head of the Xie family, Xie Xian, a rare middle unity stage 4 expert in Tianshui Town. Beside Xie Xian stood a bald man with a saber on his back and a thin man in a black robe. In the face of Xie Xian's politeness, the 2 of them only nodded slightly and did not say much. The leaders of the 3 major forces are here. If it wasn't for the great hunting meet, it would be very difficult to see 3 middle unity stage experts at once. Yes, these few people can be considered the top fighting force of our Tianshui town. Not far away, sighs and laments could be heard from the surrounding crowd. For a moment there was a lot of discussion. It seemed that the majority of the people present were attracted by the leaders of the 3 major forces on the high platform, and the atmosphere was very lively. Not everyone is here yet? The thin man in a black robe looked around and then frowned slightly. Brother Fang, please forgive me. My disciple Li Long is still on the way. Just as he finished speaking, the bald man with a saber on his back also smiled faintly, as if he did not care. Brother Li's style is still the same as before, not bothering about trifles. Glancing at Li Guangdao beside him, The thin man in a black robe shook his head and did not speak anymore. The thin man in a black robe was called Fong Xing, and he was the current head of the Fong family. As for the bald man with a saber on his back, he was the famous sect head of the Mad Blade sect, Li Guangdao. The two of them were equally famous as the head of the Xie family Xie and were the leaders of the three major forces in Tianshui town. In a short while, the younger generation of the three major forces had all arrived. Among them, other than Xie Xuanji, Fang Tianyi, and Li Long, there were also many experts at the 5th or 6th level of the body refinement stage. As for Fei Ren and Fang Hui, they kept a low profile and joined the crowd, quietly waiting for the great hunting meet to begin. Brother Fei, the hunting location is within a radius of 500 miles around the Hengduan mountain range. At that time, we don't have to fight with these people. We only need to wait for an opportunity to act, and then we can reap the benefits. Whispering to Fei Ren beside him, Fang Hui's expression was cautious, as if he was under great pressure. Chapter 46. I hereby announce the start of the big hunting meet. Seeing that almost everyone had arrived, Xie Xian nodded his head and waved his hand, announcing the start of the big hunting meet. Swish, swish, swish. As soon as Xie Xian finished speaking, a group of young elites rushed out and headed towards the Hengduan mountain range. The time limit for the big hunt was 1 week. Only by killing demonic beasts and obtaining points and ranking in the top 10 would one be able to obtain reward. However, for some young elites, being able to rank in the top 10 wasn't important. The most important thing was to survive and temper their own strength. On the outskirts of the Hengduan mountain range, 4 figures slowly appeared. Young master, everyone is here. A gray-robed man knelt on one knee with his head lowered. In front of him stood a black-haired handsome youth with a gloomy face. Very good. This time, not only will I take first place, but I will also bury Fang Tianyi and Li Long in the stomach of the magical beast. Spread the name of the Xie family. The black-haired handsome youth smiled viciously. It was the Xie family's young master, Xie Xuanji. Different from Fei Ren's two-man team, Xie Xuanji's team composition for this hunt could be said to be luxurious. Other than his own cultivation level being at the 8th level of the body refinement realm, the other 3 team members under him were all at the 6th level of the body refinement realm and above. As for the gray-robed man kneeling in front of him, his cultivation level was even at the 7th level of the body refinement realm. His strength was not ordinary. 2 at the 6th level of the body refinement realm, 1 at the 7th level of the body refinement realm, and Xie Xuanji, who was at the 9th level of the body refinement realm. Even if they encountered a mortal-level magical beast, their 4-man team could still easily deal with it. This was where Xie Xuanji's confidence came from. After all, within a 500-mile radius of the outskirts of the Hengduan mountain range, a mortal-level magical beast was rare. Most of the magical beasts that appeared in the outskirts of the Hengduan mountain range were intermediate and advanced mortal-level magical beasts. As for yellow-level magical beasts, they were unheard of. After all, yellow-level magical beasts were comparable to middle and high-level magical beasts. Let's go. Let's hunt the magical beasts first, and then think of a way to deal with the Mad Blade sect and the Fang family. Father has ordered that even if we can't kill Fang Tianyi and Li Long, we can't let the others go. Apart from the Xie clan's disciples, everyone else is an enemy. Xie Xuanji glanced at his subordinates with a fierce expression. Here. The 3 Xie clan disciples, including the gray-robed man, nodded heavily in unison, and they seemed to follow Xie Xianji's lead. In the forest of the mountain range, 2 silhouettes could be seen shuttling back and forth. One of them had a delicate face and calm eyes. It was Fei Ren, who had entered the mountain not long ago. Fang Hui, the map, Fei Ren's figure suddenly stopped. In the next moment, he looked at Fang Hui and said, "Swish, swish." Without wasting any time, Feng Hui took out a map from his bag and slowly spread it out in front of Fei Ren, a cautious look on his face. Brother Fei, we've traveled about 200 miles into the mountain range. Although we're still in the periphery, the magical beasts we've encountered along the way are at least of the mortal middle rank. What's our next move? He stretched out his hand and gestured on the map. In the next moment, Feng Hui also looked at Fei Ren, as if waiting for his next instruction. Magical beasts below the mortal high rank give us 2 little points, and killing them is a waste of time. This time, we'll just kill people and reap the benefits. After thinking for a while, Fei Ren clenched his left hand into a fist and slammed it heavily on the map. At the same time, a sly look appeared on his face. Brother Fei, you want to attack the other teams? Hearing this, Feng Hui's face froze as if he was surprised. What? The rules don't allow it? Seeing Feng Hui's reaction, Fei Ren frowned slightly. That's not it, there are casualties in every hunting meet, this is unavoidable. It's just that this will easily attract hatred, and I'm afraid we'll become the target of public criticism. Shaking his head, Feng Hui smiled bitterly, as if he was worried. Brother Feng, I'll be honest with you, other than Xie Xuanji, Li Long, and Feng Tianyi, the rest of the teams are just fodder, not worth mentioning. With a disdainful smile, Fei Ren said disapprovingly, and if you want to quickly gain points other than killing high-level magical beasts, you can only rob. Don't worry, I won't touch the Feng family's disciples, unless they're determined to die. As for the Xie family and the Wild Blade sect, it depends on whether they know their place or not. Otherwise, I don't mind sending them to heaven. Let's go. The hunt has begun. Fei Ren patted Feng Hui's shoulder to reassure him, and in the next moment, he jumped and ran into the dense forest ahead. Seeing this, Feng Hui immediately put away the map and followed closely behind. Hengduan Mountain Range, on an open space on a cliff, there was suddenly the sound of fierce fighting and the roar of a beast. The 2 of you, restrain this beast on the left and right, I'll give it a fatal blow. Yes, young master. On the open space, a few young men with weapons in their hands were surrounding a huge armored rhinoceros. The one in the lead had a determined face, and his aura was like a rainbow. It was the young master of the Wild Blade sect, Li Long. This armored rhinoceros's magical aura was not weak, it had already reached the high level of the mortal level. However, its thick skin was covered with cuts, and traces of blood could be seen. It seemed that because of the encirclement, its injuries were not light. At this moment it was mournfully roaring. Roar, roar. Because of its injuries, the armored rhinoceros's eyes were incomparably red, and it was already in a state of rage. With a loud roar, it broke through the encirclement of the crowd, and then fiercely collided with one of the young men at the 5th level of the body refinement realm, instantly sending him flying. Rumble! Poochie! The young man's face was pale, and he spat out a few mouthfuls of blood. In the next moment, his body fell to the ground, as if he had suffered a serious injury. Wild Blade's splitting space. Rumble! With a loud roar, seeing that his comrade was injured, Li Long's eyes widened in anger. In the next moment, the long blade in his hand slashed through the air, and a lightning-like blade energy instantly pierced through the air, ruthlessly landing on the armored rhinoceros's stomach. Roar! The blade energy exploded, and in an instant blood splattered everywhere. The armored rhinoceros also let out a miserable howl, and finally crashed to the ground, completely dead. Young master, we finally finished off this beast. It's a pity that Luning was injured by this beast before it died, and it will probably take some time to heal. After finishing off the high level of the armored rhinoceros, a short-haired young man also withdrew his weapon, and in the next moment, he came in front of Li Long and knelt on one knee. Rest for now, and pay attention to the surroundings, in case of a sneak attack by magical beasts or enemies. Also, inform the nearby Wild Blade sect disciples to gather near me. Hunting magical beasts for points is a small matter, but it is more important to not be ambushed by the Fang and Xie families. We need to conserve our strength. Glancing at the young man named Lu Ning, who was heavily injured, Li Long's face became serious, and in the next moment, he waved his hand. Yes, young master. Lowering his head and accepting the order, the short-haired young man once again clasped his hands. Chapter 47. Strange, I didn't see any Xie family disciples along the way. Could it be that they are plotting something again? After instructing his subordinates to be on guard, Li Long sat down cross-legged and took out a pill from his spirit ring and swallowed it. He started to recover his Yuan power with a serious expression on his face. Unlike the Wild Blade sect and Fang family, the Xie family was a second-rate force. Their disciples were generally stronger than the Wild Blade sect. Moreover, the Xie family had always been at odds with the Wild Blade sect. In the previous hunting conventions, the two families often clashed. But this time, other than Xie Xuanji's group, there were at least 20 to 30 Xie family disciples participating in this hunting convention. There were 7 to 8 teams, and their combined strength was slightly stronger than the Wild Blade sect disciples. If it was a direct battle, Li Long and his group would not have an advantage. Currently, killing a high mortal level demon beast would give them 10 points. Although one of his subordinates was seriously injured, the result was good. Li Long and his group also found a demon core from the dead armored rhino, which made up for their losses. Kacha, a Wild Blade sect disciple, raised his blade and chopped off the head of the armored rhino. He then kept it in his bag. At this time, Li Long looked over and said in a deep voice, "Has the news been released?" "Young master, we have sent someone to send it out." A Wild Blade sect disciple kept his weapon and said respectfully. Although this hunting convention was led by the 3 major forces of the Tianshui town, there were also some disciples from smaller families participating. Although the Wild Blade sect had a good foundation, it was difficult for 2 fists to fight against 4 hands. If they were surrounded by other forces, they would definitely suffer heavy casualties. Xie Xuanji had always been a scheming person. Along the way, Li Long did not see any Xie family disciples. It was as if they had evaporated into thin air. Li Long's heart was filled with uneasiness. At this moment, he could not care less about killing demon beasts. Instead, he hurriedly gathered the remaining Wild Blade sect disciples. "Xie Xuanji, if you dare to attack the Wild Blade sect disciples, I will definitely kill you." With a serious face, Li Long's right hand that was holding the long blade could not help but secretly tighten. In the dense forest of the mountain range, a fierce battle was still going on. "Xie Xuanji, how dare you backstab me? Shameless!" A furious shout suddenly sounded out, and in the next moment it stopped abruptly. A white-robed young man was forcefully grabbed by the neck and lifted into the air. At this moment, his face was flushed red, and he seemed to be unable to exert the strength in his entire body. Around him, blood flowed like a river, and corpses covered the ground. It was an extremely tragic scene. The winner is king, and the loser is a bandit. Xie Xuanji shot a glance at the white-robed young man in his hand, who had a weak aura. His gaze was ice-cold, and in the next moment, he swung his hand and threw him aside, knocking down several giant trees along the way. "Don't worry, Fang Tianyi and the other disciples of the Fang family will accompany you soon." Bang! With a heavy palm strike, Xie Xuanji's expression was cold as he instantly killed the white-robed young man. His head was separated from his body, and blood splattered everywhere. "Young master, they're all dead." These 2 Fang family team members were really weak. The highest cultivation level was only at the 6th level of the body refinement realm. "Our brothers haven't had enough fun killing them yet." After finishing off the white-robed young man, a gray-clothed young man flew to Xie Xuanji's side and cupped his hands together. "How are the results?" Xie Xuanji ignored the gray-clothed young man's lament and said indifferently, "One of our brothers is dead, and another is lightly injured. We killed a total of 8 Fang family members, more than 10 mortal-level monster cores, and point. Just this battle alone has already earned us more than 80 points. These guys are just giving us a wedding dress." After pausing for a moment, the gray-clothed young man spoke again with a respectful tone. "Very good, continue doing this. Inform the rest to remain on standby. Without my orders, they are not to act. In this hunting meet, I want the Fang family and the Wild Blade sect to suffer great losses. In the future, they won't be able to compete with our Xie family." With a cold smile, Xie Xuanji secretly clenched his fists, and a trace of ruthlessness and dominance appeared on his gloomy face. Different from the other participants, Xie Xuanji and his group's goal in this hunting meet was not to hunt monster cores. They only had one goal: to kill and rob. By killing the other teams, they could weaken the young backbone of the other forces, and also obtain a large amount of monster cores points. It was killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Although Xie Xuanji's idea was not bad, it was only limited to the Wild Blade sect, the Fang family, and some other small forces. It was useless against Fei Ren. With Fei Ren's current strength, even if he was alone, he could easily wipe out any team. Although the strength of Xie Xuanji's team was not bad, other than Xie Xuanji himself, the other 3 could not even withstand a single blow from Fei Ren. After all, with the Yuan Qi cultivation of the 8th level of the body refinement realm, martial artists below the half-step middle unite realm did not have the qualifications to challenge Fei Ren. At the periphery of the Hengduan mountain range, Fei Ren's left foot was heavily stepping on the head of a giant monster. At this moment, Yuan Qi was circulating in his palm, and in the next moment, he took out a shining silver monster core from the giant monster's head. "Fang Hui, you've broken through in your cultivation?" After collecting the spoils of war, Fei Ren raised his eyes and looked at Fang Hui. The giant monster under his feet was a black-striped bear. The black-striped bear's magical energy was not high, barely reaching the middle mortal level. If it was not to train Fang Hui, he could have killed it in one blow. Thanks to Brother Fei's care, I was lucky to break through. Heavily exhaling, Fang Hui wiped the sweat from his forehead. In the next moment, he suddenly stood up, and an abundant Yuan Qi aura swept out. Impressively, he had reached the 5th level of the body refinement realm. The strength of the dead black-striped bear in front of him was not bad, comparable to a human martial artist at the 6th level of the body refinement realm. However, it was heavily injured by Fei Ren in one blow, and its magical energy was almost depleted. Naturally, it could not defeat Fang Hui and died. Originally, Fei Ren planned to let this middle mortal level black-striped bear go. After all, killing it would only give him 5 points. However, Fang Hui was on the verge of breaking through and urgently needed a battle to temper himself. For this reason, he did not mind doing him a favor. "This black-striped bear was killed by you guys?" Just as Fei Ren and the rest were about to retreat, a strange male voice sounded out from the dense forest beside them. In the next moment, a few figures flashed out. The one in the lead was a youth with a goatee and a protruding mouth and ape-like cheek. "Who are you?" Ignoring the young man with the goatee's question, Fei Ren's face was calm as he looked at the other party. "Impudent! Why aren't you kneeling and apologizing when you see young Master Song Yun?" Before he finished speaking, a guard-like man beside the young man with the goatee stepped forward and sternly scolded. "Song Yun?" Hearing this, Fei Ren's face was slightly doubtful. In Tianshui town, other than the young elites of the 3 major factions, he had never heard of anyone else. "Brother Fei, this person is the young patriarch of the Song family, Song Yun. The Song family is also a third-rate faction, but their background is a little lacking. However, he has an elder sister who married into the Xie family. This guy also follows the example of a dog relying on its master's power, and has always been tyrannical in Tianshui town." Coming to Fei Ren's side, Fang Hui explained in a low voice. He seemed to have recognized the young man with the goatee, and his face was serious. Chapter 48. So you're the brother-in-law of the Xie family, no wonder you're so arrogant. Fei Ren's lips curled up. Although the Xie family was a second-rate power and had a good reputation in Tianshui town, he was not afraid of them. In the depths of the Hengduan mountain range, there were only demonic beasts around. Even if Fei Ren killed Song Yun and the rest, the Xie family and Song family would not be able to find him. Stinking brat, are you deaf? Seeing that Fei Ren and Fang Hui were still unmoved, a male guard beside Song Yun unsheathed a large blade from his waist and released his origin chi. At the same time, he stepped forward aggressively. This male guard's cultivation level was at the 5th level of the body refinement realm, the same level as Fang Hui, who had just broken through. However, Fang Hui was the young master of the Fang clan who was born out of a concubine and had cultivated in the Iron Palm clan for many days, so his actual battle prowess was slightly stronger than his opponent. Do you want to fight? Seeing the male guard's aggressive appearance, Fang Hui's heart skipped a beat. He also unsheathed a large silver blade from his waist with a cautious expression. Although the silver blade in his hand was not a spirit treasure and could not be compared to Fei Ren's bee sting blade, it was still a top-grade weapon made from refined iron. It could also be infused with origin chi to increase the power of the weapon. It was priceless. Furthermore, although Song Yun and the others in front of him were menacing and harbored malicious intentions, their strength was not considered to be very strong. There were only a total of 6 people, and Song Yun's cultivation level was at the 6th level of the body refinement realm. The remaining 5 guards were all at the 5th level of the body refinement realm. Fei Ren could kill them with a flip of his hand. So what if we fight? Do you think Fang Tianyi will come and save you? The Xie family is destined to dominate this hunting meet. Seeing Fang Hui's cautious face, Song Yun laughed out loud with disdain. It was as if Fang Hui and Fei Ren were already turtles in a jar. Young patriarch's strength is extraordinary, how could he be controlled by the Xie family? Moreover, do you think that Li Long of the Wild Blade sect doesn't exist? Fang Hui clenched the weapon in his hand. Facing Song Yun's threat, his expression remained unchanged. Idiots, since all of you are going to die anyway, this young master doesn't mind revealing some information to all of you. Curling his lips, Song Yun still had a look of disdain on his face as he continued, Fang Tianyi and his men have already been heavily surrounded by young Master Xie Xuanji. They can't even protect themselves, and the rest of the Fang family's disciples won't be able to escape death. As for Li Long of the Mad Blade sect, that fellow is only at the 7th level of the body refinement realm. Now that young Master Xie Xuanji has already stepped into the 9th level of the body refinement realm, once we deal with Fang Tianyi, that fellow won't be able to escape either. What? Xie Xuanji has already broken through to the 9th level of the body refinement stage. Fang Hui was shocked when he heard this. The young patriarch of the Fang family, Fang Tianyi, and the young master of the Mad Blade sect, Li Long, were both at the 7th level of the body refinement realm. Although they were not as strong as Xie Xuanji, they were only slightly suppressed by the other party. Now that Xie Xuanji had successfully broken through to the 9th level of the body refinement realm, it was hard to say what would happen. Every year, young disciples from various factions would participate in the hunting meet, and most of them were elite. If Fang Tianyi and Li Long were killed, the Fang family and the Mad Blade sect would be greatly weakened, and the Xie family would take the lead and become the overlord of Tianshui town. I heard that you are called Fang Hui, a concubine's son of the Fang family? This young master can give you a chance to live today. As long as you kill the brat beside you as proof of your allegiance, this young master will spare your life. After sizing up Fei Ren who was beside Fang Hui, Song Yun suddenly revealed a crafty smile as he opened his mouth to speak. Dream on. Without any hesitation, Fang Hui waved his blade and pointed it at Song Yun, his eyes full of fighting spirit. So the Xie family had such a good plan, but it's a pity that they have miscalculated. Hearing this, Fei Ren more or less understood the Xie family's ambition. They wanted to use the hunting meat as a pretext to severely damage the Fang family and the Mad Blade sect's strength in order to dominate Tianshui town. Alright, it's about time to send you guys to hell. Stretching his waist, Fei Ren's face was languid, and he looked at Song Yun and the others in front of him. Brat, who the hell are you? You sure talk big. You're looking for death. Seeing Fei Ren's calm attitude, the guards beside Song Yun were enraged. In the next moment, they all took out their weapons and slashed at Fei Ren. 100 snake hands. Without using any weapons, Fei Ren's body flashed and dodged the attacks of the guards. Then, he jumped into the air and raised his hand to shoot out a few fierce snake shadows. The fierce snake shadows were mixed with rolling elemental energy, and they instantly strangled the guards on the ground. Bang! The fierce snake shadows pierced through the air, and with a few howls, the guards at the 5th level of the body refinement realm were strangled to death by the snake shadows. In the next moment, their bodies fell heavily to the ground as blood flowed endlessly. Instant kill in one move. Now that Fei Ren's elemental energy cultivation had reached the 8th level of the body refinement realm, his overall strength was comparable to that of a half-step into the middle unity realm. Those below the 8th level of the body refinement realm could not even withstand one move from him. Facing these guards who were only at the 5th level of the body refinement realm, he naturally killed them with a wave of his hand. You. Seeing his own subordinates being killed by Fei Ren in one move, the originally arrogant and despotic Song Yun's face changed greatly. His body went limp and he fell to the ground. His pants were soaked in blood, as if he was so scared that he peed on the spot. Who the hell are you? Song Yun's voice trembled as he looked at the calm and collected Fei Ren in front of him. Song Yun's face was deathly pale and his lips were slightly purple. His cultivation was only at the 6th level of the body refinement realm. If the other party could kill all his subordinates in one move, then naturally he could also easily kill him. The person who will kill you. Hearing this, Fei Ren's face was filled with killing intent. In the next moment, he slowly walked towards Song Yun, the elemental energy in his palm surging. Brother Fei's strength has increased by quite a bit. Oh my god, this is a monster. Seeing this scene, Fang Hui's eyes were wide open and his face was filled with shock. Don't kill me. I am the young master of the Song clan. The Xie clan and I are close friends through marriage. If you kill me, the Xie clan and Song clan will definitely not let you off. You will still have to die. Seeing Fei Ren's body surrounded by killing intent, Song Yun, who was facing a life and death situation, completely panicked. He immediately cried out in a panic and in the next moment, he turned around and fled towards the dense forest behind him, intending to escape from this place. Die. Without any hesitation, Fei Ren raised his hand and flung out a stream of elemental energy that instantly pierced through Song Yun's back. Song Yun's heart meridians were completely shattered and blood splattered everywhere. Song Yun also fell to the ground, completely dead. Brother Fei, now that the Xie clan is full of ambition, what should our next step be? Although he had dealt with Song Yun and the others, the stone in Fang Hui's heart still hadn't been lifted, and he said in a deep voice. One word, kill. Since Xie Xuanji wants to play a game of killing, then we'll play with them. The title of the champion of this hunting meet, this young master can't easily give it to him. After collecting the items left behind by Song Yun and the others, Fei Ren's face was as calm as water, as if he had already expected this situation. Chapter 49. Brother Fang, if you don't want to get involved in this mess, you can back out. As if seeing through Fong Hui's concerns, Fei Ren spoke again. That's not it. Although I don't have deep feelings for the Fong family is the family that raised me. If I allow the Xie family to wantonly kill the Fong family's disciples, I won't be able to bear it. Moreover, Xie Xuanji has wild ambitions. He wants to kill the Fong family and the Wild Blade sect's disciples in one fell swoop. How can I let him succeed so easily? After hesitating for a moment, Fong Hui finally swept away his worries and said through gritted teeth, "You're a man. Let's go. We should be able to meet people from other factions nearby. As long as they're in cahoots with the Xie family, we'll kill them all." Fei Ren patted Fong Hui's shoulder and grinned. He had wanted to kill for a long time, but he didn't have the chance. The refining immortal cauldron's function was to devour and refine all things. Compared to devouring the bodies of magical beasts, the body of a human martial artist contained more essence. Even without the help of vitality stones, Fei Ren's cultivation would increase faster as long as he killed more people. This was the power of the refining immortal cauldron. When he had just killed Song Yun and the others, Fei Ren had secretly released the immortal refining cauldron to absorb the remaining essence of Song Yun and the others' corpses while Fong Hui was not paying attention. Unfortunately, these people's cultivation levels were too low. Even if he absorbed all of them, it only increased his essence by a little. Xie Xuanji is at the 9th level of the body refinement realm. If I can kill him, not only will I be able to greatly damage the Xie family's vitality, but I will also be able to increase my cultivation by quite a bit. Devouring a martial artist at the 9th level of the body refinement realm is far more worthwhile than devouring dozens of martial artists at the 5th or 6th level of the body refinement realm. Secretly comforting himself, Fei Ren also flew into the depths of the mountain range as light as a swallow. The magical beasts nearby had already been killed by the other teams, and there were no traces of the Xie family's team or Xie Xuanji. Therefore, the two of them could only explore the depths of the mountain range. Rustle, 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 the leaves on both sides swayed as Fei Ren and Fong Hui's figures shuttled through the dense forest at lightning speed. "Brother Fei, if we go any further, we'll be out of the hunting range. Moreover, the chances of encountering a high-level magical beast will greatly increase." Looking around, Fong Hui suddenly reminded them. He seemed to have some understanding of the surrounding terrain. Because the location of the hunting meet was located in the Hengduan mountain range, for the sake of safety and to reduce the probability of encountering high-level magical beasts, every hunting meet would set a hunting range of about 500 miles. However, in order to obtain more points, some small teams would ignore the rules and head into the depths of the mountain range to hunt magical beasts. Don't worry, as long as we don't encounter any yellow rank magical beasts, mere mortal rank magical beasts won't be able to hurt us. Moreover, mortal rank magical beasts generally don't have high intelligence. Even if they can't beat us, they can still run away. Fei Ren waved his hand dismissively at Fong Hui's reminder. Now that his strength was comparable to a half-step Middle Union realm martial artist, he was indeed confident. Moreover, Fong Hui, who was beside Fei Ren, might not have a high cultivation, but his movement technique and speed were not bad. He was not inferior to a martial artist at the 7th level of the body refinement realm. He was also an escape expert. Roar. Not long after, a huge beast roar suddenly came from the mountain range. In the next moment, Fei Ren and Fong Hui stopped in their tracks with different expressions. This beast roar. It's a crimson spirit tiger. Something must have intruded into its territory. Fong Hui frowned and said in a deep voice, "Could it be that we've been discovered?" The crimson spirit tiger was impulsive and cruel by nature. It was the offspring of a crimson flame tiger and a spirit leopard. An adult crimson spirit tiger was at least a yellow rank magical beast. Its magic power was not inferior to a Middle Union realm martial artist. Its strength was valiant, and the crimson spirit tiger had a very strong sense of territory. No, it's other magical beasts that have intruded into this beast's territory. We're about 10 miles away from the source of the beast roar. Even if this beast has a dog's nose, it wouldn't be that sensitive, shaking his head, Fei-Rin said calmly. He seemed to have some understanding of magical beasts like the crimson spirit tiger. Let's go. Let's go take a look. After patting Fong Hui's shoulder, Fei-Rin once again flew out and ran towards the source of the beast roar. Brother Fei, wait for me. Seeing Fei-Rin fly out like an arrow, Fong Hui was stunned for a moment. Then, he gritted his teeth and followed closely behind. Rumble! In front of a cliff waterfall, two huge magical beasts were fighting fiercely. The magic power in the surroundings was sweeping and raging. From time to time, one or two giant trees would fall and turn into dust. The scene was a mess. One of the magical beasts had a fiery red body and a long iron whip-like tail behind it. It was the yellow rank magical beast, Crimson Spirit Tiger. The Crimson Spirit Tiger in front of him seemed to have just reached adulthood, and its magic power fluctuations were not strong. It was only at the low level of the yellow rank, and its strength was no different from a human martial artist at the second or third stage of the Middle Union boundary. Opposite it was a similarly ferocious, lion-shaped magic beast with golden hair standing on end. The lion-shaped magical beast had sharp claws and a pair of muddy yellow eyes, but it was filled with a murderous and domineering aura. Its magic power had also reached the low yellow rank and was not weaker than the Crimson Spirit Tiger opposite it. It was like a scene of two heroes fighting. Yellow rank magical beast, golden fur lion. So it was this guy who trespassed into its territory. No wonder the Crimson Spirit Tiger went crazy. After a while, Fei-Rin and Fong Hui also hurried over. Hundreds of meters away, the two of them used the cover of the forest leaves to look at the fierce battle between the Crimson Spirit Tiger and the lion-shaped magical beast. The Crimson Spirit Tiger and the lion-shaped magical beast were fighting fiercely and did not notice the two of them quietly approaching. The Golden Fur Lion's magic power is comparable to the Crimson Spirit Tiger's. Brother Fei, when both of them are injured, we can reap the benefits. Fong Hui's gaze was fixed on the Crimson Spirit Tiger and the Golden Fur Lion not far away. His eyes shone with a fiery light. Roar! In front of the cliff waterfall, the Crimson Spirit Tiger roared again. The Crimson Spirit Tiger instantly broke free from the other party's entanglement and bit off a handful of the Golden Fur Lion's mixed fur. Immediately, a piece of flesh was exposed and blood flowed non-stop. The Golden Fur Lion roared angrily and raised its hand to slap the Crimson Spirit Tiger far away. Bang! The Crimson Spirit Tiger's body fell heavily to the ground. At the same time, a trace of blood slowly flowed down from its back. It seemed that the Crimson Spirit Tiger was not in a good state after being hit by the Golden Fur Lion's angry claw. Its injuries were not light and the magic power on its body had weakened slightly. Roar! Roar! They did not stop for a moment. Although both of them were injured, the Crimson Spirit Tiger and the Golden Fur Lion pounced on each other again. The battle was intense and anxious. Why are these two beasts so desperate? Looking at the Crimson Spirit Tiger and the Golden Fur Lion, who were engaged in a fierce battle not far away, Fong Hui was puzzled and puzzled. Although the Crimson Spirit Tiger was very territorial and would not rest until it was dead, he still felt that something was wrong. The Crimson Spirit Tiger and the Golden Fur Lion in front of him seemed to have other motive. It was not as simple as just killing each other. That's right, it's medicinal herbs. Or should I say spiritual herbs? As soon as he finished speaking, Fei-Rin, who had not spoken for a long time, faintly said. At the same time, his gaze swept around and finally landed on a strange bright red flower at the top of the waterfall opposite the cliff. His face looked thoughtful. Chapter 50. If Fei Ren was not mistaken, the strange bright red flower at the peak of the waterfall across the cliff was the rare Nine Suns flower. The Nine Suns flower was a third-grade medicinal herb. Its petals could be used to refine pills, and its roots could also be directly swallowed. It could enhance a martial artist's five senses, achieving the effect of hearing and seeing. Could be called a rare spirit herb, and this was also the reason why Fei Ren was so surprised. The scarlet spirit tiger and golden fur lion in front of the waterfall were clearly aiming for the Nine Suns flower at the peak of the waterfall, and not for some territorial battle. Although the intelligence of magical beasts was not high, they were not stupid and would not fight to the death with their opponents for no reason. It should be the Nine Suns flower without a doubt, and it is very old, at least 100 years old. Once again certain in his heart, Fei Ren spoke unhurriedly, his tone revealing a trace of surprise. Nine Suns flower? Hearing this, Fang Hui also revealed a look of surprise, his tone shocked as he said, I heard that the Nine Suns flower is a third-grade medicinal ingredient and is priceless. If a stalk of Nine Suns flower appears on the black market, it will be sold out in less than half a day, and this thing can't even be bought with low-grade spirit stones, it can only be exchanged with low-grade spirit stones with a higher amount of spirit power. Seemingly also knowing the wonders of the Nine Suns flower, Fang Hui's mouth was slightly agape as he sighed. That's right, how can such a treasure be wasted in the hands of these two mixed-haired beasts? It's simply a waste. Nodding, Fei Ren's face revealed a cold smile. Brother Fei, when do you plan to make a move? These two magical beasts are very strong, I'm afraid I can't help much. Seeing that Fei Ren was also interested in the Nine Suns flower, Fang Hui immediately restrained his expression and said weakly in a low voice. He had just broken through to the 5th level of the body refinement realm not long ago, and dealing with a common rank middle-grade magical beast was already his limit. If he encountered a common rank high-grade magical beast, he would only be able to deal with a few moves, not to mention the scarlet spirit tiger and golden fur lion in front of him. They were both yellow-rank low-grade magical beasts, comparable to middle Unity Realm expert. Fang Hui was naturally not a match for them. Brother Fang, you don't have to do anything. Just help me guard the surroundings and see if there are any traces of other teams. I'll deal with these two bastards on my own. Fei Ren was naturally aware of Fang Hui's strength. He extended his hand and patted Fang Hui's shoulder. In the next moment, his body shot out and directly charged out of the dense forest. Clearly, he did not intend to hide at all and chose to directly face Fang Hui head-on. Although it was a 1 versus 2 battle, the scarlet spirit tiger and golden fur lion had both suffered heavy injuries. They were no longer at their peak state. Their demonic energy had decreased by a lot, barely reaching the level of half-step middle union boundary. With the divine immortal refining cauldron, the grade 1 spirit treasure wasp bayonet, and several grade 2 martial techniques in addition to his stable cultivation at the 8th level of the body refinement stage, Fei Ren was confident that he could kill the crimson spirit tiger and golden fur lion before him. Even if he couldn't, he could still retreat unscathed. Bastard, I can't leave this Nine Suns flower to you. I want it. Holding the wasp bayonet in his hand, Fei Ren pointed it at the scarlet spirit tiger and golden fur mad lion not far from him and sneered. Roar! Seeing Fei Ren suddenly appear, the scarlet spirit tiger and golden fur mad lion, who were entangled in a fierce battle, also retreated to the side. A pair of beast eyes were staring at Fei Ren like a tiger eyeing its prey. In the next moment, they suddenly changed their target and rushed towards Fei Ren, their demonic energy wreaking havoc. Quite smart, unfettered slash. Seeing the scarlet spirit tiger and golden fur mad lion rushing towards him as if they had a tacit understanding, Fei Ren had already expected it. The wasp bayonet in his hand heavily slashed forward. In an instant, dozens of snow-white blade chi burst out from the blade and similarly attacked the vital points of the two beasts, causing gusts of wind to howl. The unfettered slash was the killing move of the Grade 2 martial technique, the unfettered blade technique. Although Fei Ren had only cultivated it to the initial stage, with the addition of his Grade 8 body refinement stage origin force, its power was infinitely close to a Grade 3 martial technique. It was extremely shocking. Bang! Rumble! The blade chi swept across the air. The heavily injured Scarlet Spirit Tiger roared, and then lifted its claws to shatter several blade chi. However, there were still a few blade chi that broke through its defense and ruthlessly smashed into the Scarlet Spirit Tiger's lower body. Instantly, blood spurted out and the Scarlet Spirit Tiger howled miserably. Rumble! The Scarlet Spirit Tiger's huge beast body crashed onto the ground. Although it still had a trace of life, it had already completely lost its ability to fight. On the other hand, the Golden Fur Mad Lion on the other side, although it was able to withstand Fei Ren's attack, it was also heavily injured. Traces of blood flowed down from the beast's body. There's still one more. After killing the Scarlet Spirit Tiger in one move, Fei Ren also changed his attack. He brandished his blade and attacked the Golden Fur Mad Lion on the other side. Although the unfettered blade technique's power was not bad, it consumed a lot of origin force. Fei Ren's current cultivation was at the 8th level of the body refinement stage. With his current amount of origin force, he could not frequently use the unfettered slash. At most, he could use it 4 or 5 times before his origin force was completely depleted. Therefore, he needed to end the battle quickly. Monster! Not far away, on the treetop of a huge tree, Fong Hui's eyes could not help but widen as he watched Fei Ren single-handedly fight 2 large yellow-rank magical beasts. He had an expression of disbelief and shock. Although the Scarlet Spirit Tiger and the Golden Fur Mad Lion had suffered many injuries from their fierce battle and had less than half of their magic power left, they were still dignified low-level yellow-rank magical beasts. They were comparable to human middle-level experts. Now, they were actually being suppressed by Fei Ren single-handedly. They truly did not have any face. Roar! Seeing the Scarlet Spirit Tiger fall to the ground, the Golden Fur Mad Lion was completely enraged. Its eyes were red and in the next moment, it let out a long roar and released a large amount of magic power. At the same time, it raised its sharp claws and attacked Fei Ren. A huge tail like an iron whip swept towards Fei Ren's neck, intending to fight to the death. Useless struggle. 100 snake hands. Carefree slash. Seeing the Golden Fur Mad Lion pouncing towards him, Fei Ren's face was solemn. In the next moment, his left hand blasted out dozens of mournful snake shadows. At the same time, the wasp blade in his right hand slashed out diagonally, slashing out an even more powerful snow-white blade aura. The blade aura wreaked havoc, causing people to feel pain on their cheek. Bang! Rumble! The mournful snake shadows streaked across the sky and instantly forced the Golden Fur Mad Lion to retreat. In the next moment, the snow-white blade aura rapidly attacked and chopped off its huge head. Immediately, fresh blood spurted out in all directions. The Golden Fur Mad Lion that had lost its head fell to the ground with a loud bang. It did not even let out a mournful cry and was completely motionless. Although he did not block the Golden Fur Mad Lion's tail sweep, Fei Ren had cultivated the Black Tortoise Longevity Scripture. His skin could summon the Black Tortoise armor at will. The Golden Fur Mad Lion's counterattack before it died naturally could not hurt him. At most, it would consume some of his origin energy. After killing the Golden Fur Mad Lion, Fei Ren did not let go of the dying Scarlet Spirit Tiger on the other side. He immediately flew over and cleanly chopped off the Scarlet Spirit Tiger's head. These were all his spoils of war. The big hunting meat did not have any rules about how many points one could get by killing a low-level yellow-rank magical beast. After all, no one had ever done it, and no one had the luck to do so. However, with just the heads of these 2 magical beasts, Fei Ren was confident that his points were already first in the entire competition. No one could beat him. I've finally dealt with these two beasts. The 9 Suns flower is mine. After cleaning up the remaining magical beasts' corpses, Fei Ren also leaped and arrived at the peak of the cliff waterfall. At the same time, he reached out and plucked the grade 3 9 Suns flower. His face was filled with joy. Chapter 51. Let's see if there are any demon cores in these two beasts. After putting the 9 Suns flower into his spirit ring, Fei Ren opened up the abdomen of the crimson spiritual tiger and the golden fur lion. After searching for a while, he found that there were no demon cores in the golden fur lion's body. Instead, he found something in the crimson spiritual tiger's body. He took out a crimson, crystal-like demon core. A demon core of a low-level yellow-rank demon beast. This time I'm rich. Looking at the crimson, crystal-like demon core lying quietly in his palm, Fei Ren was overjoyed. After all, a yellow-rank demon core was different from a mortal-rank demon core. Its value was much higher than the latter. A low-level yellow-rank demon core could be exchanged for a low-grade primordial stone. It was very rare. In the world of martial artists, 100 low-grade primordial stones could be exchanged for a low-grade primordial stone. Moreover, it was usually priceless. A low-grade primordial stone contained a lot more primordial energy than a low-grade primordial stone. It was enough to show how rare it was. Now, Fei Ren had picked up 100-year-old 9 Suns flower for free. Adding the spoils of war he had obtained from killing Song Yun and the others, as well as the demon core of the crimson spirit tiger in front of him, his wealth had skyrocketed by several times. The only 2 low-rank spirit rings he had on hand were also stuffed to the brim, leaving no space for other items. In order to put the valuable materials and bones of the crimson spiritual tiger and the golden fur lion into the spirit ring, Fei Ren even threw away some of his clothes and miscellaneous items in the spirit ring. He used all of them to store his spoils. Brother Fei, your strength is more than several times stronger than before. At this time, Fang Hui, who was watching the battle not far away, also flew over with a shocked expression. Although he did not get any benefits, it was still very rare to be able to witness such a fierce battle. After all, Fei Ren fought 2 low-level yellow-rank demon beasts by himself. This kind of scene was hard to come by even in 10 years. It's a small matter. Now that the space in my spirit ring is full, Brother Fang, you and I are in the same team. I don't want to take all the benefits. The spoils in this spirit ring belong to you. With a slight smile, Fei Ren took off a low-level spirit ring and handed it over to Fang Hui. This low-level spiritual ring contained the magic nuclei and materials that Fei Ren had obtained from killing demonic beasts over the past few days, as well as some of the belongings that Song Yun and the others had left behind. Although the value of these items was not as valuable as the corpses of 2 low-level yellow-rank demonic beasts, it was still not a small amount. Thank you, Brother Fei. I hope nothing bad will happen. Nodding his head, Zhang Xian put away the spirit ring with a grave expression. At this moment, there was less than half of the time left until the end of the big hunting meet. Fei Ren had already killed 2 low-level yellow-rank magical beasts and had more than enough points. There was no need for him to go around looking for magical beasts to kill. He only needed to pick up the leftovers. Someone's coming. His ears twitching slightly, Fei Ren restrained his expression and looked towards the dense forest in the northeast. Just a moment ago, Fei Ren suddenly sensed that there were a few origin energy fluctuations that weren't weak approaching this place. Moreover, their speed was extremely fast, and they would arrive in front of the cliff and waterfall in less than 30 minutes. As for whether they were friends or foes, Fei Ren wasn't too sure. Is it the Xie family? Or is it the young clan leader and the rest? Hearing this, Fang Hui's face was also filled with caution. I'm not sure, let's hide first. Shaking his head, Fei Ren's figure leapt into the air onto a nearby treetop and then hid behind layers of leaves. He held his breath and concentrated, minimizing his origin energy fluctuations to the minimum. Swoosh. Seeing this, Fang Hui gritted his teeth and also leapt into a treetop, not making a sound. A few minutes later, a few figures also emerged from the dense forest and arrived in front of the cliff and waterfall. Strange, I clearly heard fighting and beast roars here just now. A soft voice sounded out, and in the next moment, a short-haired young man wearing a yellow robe stepped out with a puzzled expression. The short-haired young man had a long blade at his waist, and the aura around his body was not weak. He had already reached the 7th level of the body refinement stage. It was the young master of the Wild Blade sect, Li Long. It's Li Long. When he saw who it was, Fang Hui, who was hiding in the dark, exclaimed in a low voice. Li Long was the young master of the Wild Blade sect, and his strength was not weak. He was able to fight evenly with the young clan leader of the Fang family, Fang Tianyi, and was only slightly weaker than Xie Xuanji. The team that Li Long was in was also one of the main forces of this year's hunting meet. So it's him. This guy must have been attracted by the fierce battle between the Scarlet Spirit Tiger and the Golden Fur Lion. Not only Fang Hui, but Fei Ren also recognized the identity of the newcomer, and his face was slightly surprised. Young master, come over here and take a look. There are traces of blood that have yet to dry. It was not left behind by a human martial artist. At this moment, a Wild Blade sect disciple beside him also exclaimed in surprise. At this moment, his gaze was fixed on the pool of blood on the ground, as if he had discovered something. The team that Li Long was in was not small, about 6 to 7 people. Every one of them was at least at the 5th level of the body refinement realm. Such a team was not weak in the hunting meet. Other than the Fang family and the Xie family, no other forces dared to provoke them. That's right, it's the blood of a magical beast. Moreover, there is still a trace of elemental energy fluctuation here. There must have been a great battle here before, and it should have been done by another team. Unfortunately, it seems that we are too late. Leaning forward, Li Long's eyes narrowed as he said lightly. Originally, he wanted to see if he could pick up some scraps, but now it was too late. Not only did he not even see the shadow of a magical beast, he did not even need to talk about other human martial artists. Brotherly, long time no see. Suddenly, a long laugh came from the dense forest beside him. In the next moment, Fei Ren leaped and arrived in front of Li Long and the others. Who is it? Who are you? With a loud shout, the Wild Blade sect disciples around Li Long all pulled out their weapons. Obviously, they did not know whether Fei Ren was a friend or foe. Brother Fei Ren, I didn't expect you to be here too. Seeing Fei Ren suddenly appear, Li Long was also stunned for a moment. In the next moment, he waved his hand and signaled his subordinates to put down their weapons. I happened to pass by and took care of a few magical beasts. Brotherly, on the other hand, you seem to have encountered some trouble. With a slight smile, Fei Ren said meaningfully. According to what he knew, there were at least 20 Wild Blade sect disciples participating in the great hunting meet. Now that there were less than 8 people left beside Li Long, it was obvious that there was something else going on. In addition, he had heard from Song Yun and the others about the Xie family's scheme, so Fei Ren was even more certain in his heart. Brother Fei is indeed a strange person. That's right, I have indeed encountered some trouble. Hearing this, Li Long's face changed slightly, and then slowly said. Although he had sent out a sect-gathering order, there were very few Wild Blade sect disciples who rushed over after hearing the news. It seemed that they had encountered some trouble on the way, which was also the reason why Li Long felt uneasy. If there are no accidents, the other Wild Blade sect disciples should have already been killed. Moreover, the Fang family is also in a similar situation. That grandson Xie Xuanji should be planning to defeat us one by one. Before he finished speaking, Fei Ren opened his mouth again. Although Feng Tiany's cultivation base was not weak, he was still not Xie Xuanji's opponent. His defeat was only a matter of time. Now that Xie Xuanji had broken through to the 9th level of the body refinement realm, no one here other than Fei Ren could be his opponent. The Xie family and Xie Xuanji have wild ambitions, trying to dominate Tianshui town. Previously, we were intercepted by the Song family disciples. At this time, Feng Hui, who was originally hiding, stood up and said in a serious tone, "After all, the Song family and the Xie family had always been in an alliance. You are from the Feng family?" Seeing Fei Ren and Feng Hui walking together, Li Long suddenly understood why Fei Ren rejected his invitation. His name is Feng Hui, a concubine's son of the Feng family. He is also my junior brother. Retracting his gaze, Fei Ren spoke again indifferently, at the same time looking at Li Long opposite him. "Brother Li, the Xie family and Xie Xuanji's ambition is very obvious. Only by joining hands can we thwart their scheme." Chapter 52. Damn it! That bastard Xie Xuanji dared to lay his hands on my Mad Blade sect's disciples. Fei Ren's words caused Li Long's face to turn red. It was obvious that he was enraged as his tone became harsh. Although his cultivation was only at the 7th level of the body refinement realm, and his overall strength was inferior to Xie Xianji's, but to have someone brazenly ride on his head and behave atrociously while he couldn't even make a sound, with Li Long's personality, he was obviously unable to do so. If he could tolerate it, what couldn't? "Brother Li Long, as long as we work together and rescue the young patriarch, no matter how strong Xie Xuanji and the Xie family are, they won't be able to do anything to us." At the side, Feng Hui saw that Li Long was enraged and stepped forward to add fuel to the fire. "That's right, although Xie Xuanji is strong, I have a way to stop him. As long as you and Feng Tiany can deal with the rest of the Xie family, this hunting meet will be the burial ground of the Xie family's disciples." Clenching his right hand into a fist, Fei Ren smiled coldly as if he had already made up his mind. "Brother Fei, you've become stronger again." Seeing Fei Ren's confident appearance, Li Long's face froze for a moment before he exclaimed in a low voice. Previously, he had not noticed that Fei Ren's cultivation had already reached the 8th level of the body refinement stage, and was even stronger than half a month ago. "Brother Li, there's not much time left." Ignoring Li Long's shock, Fei Ren said in a deep voice. "Young master, logically speaking, the other brothers should have come to meet us after receiving the news. However, there's no news from them. It's possible that they have already." At this time, a young Mad Blade sect disciple stepped forward with an ugly expression. "Yes, young master, it must be the Xie family's doing. 20 years ago, when the sect master came to Tianshui town to establish the Wild Blade sect, the Xie family had been eyeing the Wild Blade sect covetously. The other brothers must have been killed by them. Young sect master, we must avenge our dead brothers." Not only one person, the remaining Wild Blade sect disciples also spoke in unison. Their faces were filled with righteous indignation, as if they were brave warriors who had just left the mountains. "Let's do it. Xie Xuanji has gone too far. I'm going to use his head as a sacrifice to the brothers of the Mad Blade sect. Brother Fei, tell me, what should we do next?" Seeing this scene, Li Long, who was originally hesitating, coldly snorted and immediately made his decision. Although Xie Xuanji's strength wasn't bad and his essence force cultivation had already reached the 9th level of the body refinement realm, he had already teamed up with Fei Ren, and Fei Ren's cultivation was at the 8th level of the body refinement realm. If they were able to successfully rescue Feng Tiany, under the joint forces of the three parties, even Xie Xuanji would have to temporarily avoid them. If his luck wasn't good, he might even die. There's no hurry. There's still half a day before the end of the hunt. Right now, we need to find out where Xie Xuanji and Fang Tianyi are. Fei Ren waved his hand and muttered to himself. It's going to be a little difficult. We've only encountered some small forces along the way. We haven't found any trace of the Xie family's disciples, let alone Xie Xuanji. He must be hiding with his people, waiting for an opportunity to kill our Mad Blade sect's disciples. Shaking his head, Li Long's face was solemn. For this hunt, the Xie family, Fang family and Mad Blade sect each sent over 20 young juniors to participate. They accounted for 70% of the total number of participants. The rest were the disciples of small forces like the Song family. Isn't it easy to catch their tongues? The Song family and the Xie family have always been close friends. Capture 2 Song family disciples and interrogate them. Find out where the Xie family's people are and then kill them. Catch them off guard and don't leave a single one alive, Fei Ren said with a slight smile. His handsome face revealed a trace of viciousness. Wonderful! This is a wonderful plan. Brother Fei, let's do it. Hearing Fei Ren's plan, Li Long also deeply agreed, and then repeatedly agreed. The relationship between the Song family and the Xie family was well known among the many forces in Tianshui town. In this hunt, other than the dead Song Yun, there were many other Song family disciples who participated. With Fei Ren's methods, capturing 2 Song family disciples for interrogation was naturally not a problem. Move. Heavily punching the ground, Fei Ren's face was as resolute as iron. Hengduan mountain range, in front of a nameless valley. Xie Xuanji, do you really want to shed all pretense of cordiality with our Fang family? A green-clothed man was holding a long sword. At this moment, his green clothes were covered in blood and his face was extremely pale. He seemed to have suffered heavy injuries. If someone passed by at this moment, they would be shocked to find that this green-clothed man was the current young master of the Fang family, Fang Tianyi. At this moment, Fang Tianyi's injuries were severe. Around him were corpses, as if he had experienced an intense battle. Moreover, most of those who had died were Fang family disciples. Only 2 or 3 Fang family disciples who were lucky enough to survive surrounded him, trying to make a final struggle. Shed all pretense of cordiality? With just your Fang family? Your Fang family is just a mere third-rate force. What ability do you have to compete with our Xie family? Fang Tianyi, today, this place will be your burial ground. Not far away, Xie Xuanji coldly laughed, his tone full of disdain. After an intense battle, he had successfully forced Fang Tianyi into a desperate situation. Moreover, more than half of the remaining Fang family disciples were either dead or injured. They could no longer cause any waves. In the end, they could not escape death. On the other hand, the Xie family had only lost 2 or 3 people. Most of their fighting strength was still intact. Damn it! This bastard's cultivation base actually broke through to the 9th level of the body refinement realm. Of all my calculations, I never expected this. Looking around, looking at the aggressive Xie family disciples and Xie Xuanji, Fang Tianyi's face was as gloomy as stagnant water. His cultivation base was only at the 7th level of the body refinement realm. Although his overall strength was comparable to an 8th level body refinement realm martial artist, Xie Xuanji in front of him was not an ordinary person. He was also a young genius and his cultivation base had broken through to the 9th level of the body refinement realm. Naturally, Fang Tianyi was not his opponent. After several intense battles, although Fang Tianyi could barely resist Xie Xuanji's attacks, the other Fang family disciples were not so lucky. Most of them died at the hands of Xie Xuanji, and some of them died from the encirclement of other Xie family disciples. The valley before them was surrounded by steep cliffs on 3 sides, and there was only a single exit. There were at least 20 Xie clan disciples surrounding Fang Tianyi's group, and with Xie Xuanji, who was at the 9th level of the body refinement stage, unless a miracle occurred, Fang Tianyi's group would most likely be buried here. Other than Feng Tianyi, if the rest of you surrender, this young master can consider sparing your lives. As if he had thought of something new, Xie Xuanji's expression was playful as he opened his mouth to speak. Young Master Xie, are you serious? Seeing that they were in a desperate situation, a Feng family disciple covered in blood was also somewhat shaken. He immediately asked with a trembling voice. Of course, as long as you kill Feng Tianyi with your own hands and chop off his head, this young master will let bygones be bygones and spare your lives. Xie Xuanji grinned coldly. Seeing that a fish had taken the bait, Xie Xuanji said lightly with a sinister tone. Chapter 53. What? Kill the young patriarch. Hearing this, the young Feng family disciple's face was filled with shock. In the next moment, he looked at Feng Tianyi beside him. His hand that was holding the weapon trembled slightly, as if he was afraid. Fool! Seeing that the Feng family disciple beside him was shaken, Feng Tianyi shouted with a gloomy face, "This person has always been sinister and cunning. His words can't be trusted. Right now we are surrounded. This is just his plan to drive the tiger to swallow the wolf. That's right. Even if we die in battle, we can't be traitors to the clan. Protect the dignity of the Feng family. Protect the young patriarch." Hearing this, the other two Feng family disciples who were lucky enough to survive also came to their senses. They tightened their grip on their weapons and shouted in unison. Young patriarch! The young Feng family disciple, who was originally shaken, gritted his teeth. In the next moment, his eyes were filled with determination again. The Xie family is our mortal enemy. They won't let us go. You're right, let's fight to the death. That's right, only by burning the boats can we have a chance of survival. Fight to the death with these Xie family bastards. Avenge our dead brothers. Seeing that the Feng family disciples beside him had a common enemy and were filled with fighting spirit again, Feng Tianyi's expression was firm as he shouted in a deep voice. Incorrigible, seeing that Feng Tianyi and the others were unwilling to surrender, Xie Xuanji shook his head in disdain. In the next moment, origin power surged in his palms, and his body suddenly shot out, pointing at one of the Feng family disciples. His eyes were filled with killing intent. Evil spirit palm. With a stern shout, Xie Xuanji raised his hand and blasted out a black palm energy. The palm energy was mixed with yuan power, and it instantly transformed into a roaring evil spirit shadow. In the next instant, it wrapped around the injured Feng family disciple opposite him. Not good! Seeing that Xie Xuanji had attacked again, Feng Tianyi's expression changed drastically. He was about to stop him, but it was too late. The evil spirit shadow was like an unstoppable ghost, instantly swallowing the Feng family disciple. Then, it exploded. The Feng family disciple only had time to let out a blood-curdling scream before his entire body was smashed into a bloody pulp. His corpse was nowhere to be seen, and only a pool of blood was left behind. Xie Xuanji, I will kill you! Seeing Xie Xuanji instantly kill a disciple of the Feng family, Feng Tianyi's face flushed red with rage. He clenched his teeth and let out a gurgling sound. His deep eyes were filled with unconcealable killing intent. Originally, the Feng clan and the Xie clan had been in conflict with each other. However, both sides had been restraining themselves over the years. They had only fought in secret, and there had never been a situation where they would fight to the death. However, Xie Xuanji's actions had completely torn off all pretenses. It could be said that he had declared war. This aura, it really is Xie Xuanji outside the nameless valley. A gray figure flashed through the dense forest. The next moment, he slowly landed on a treetop outside the valley. At the same time, a handsome face with a calm expression was revealed. It was Fei Ren who had just left. Brother Fei, what's the situation? A few breaths later, a few more silhouettes quietly crept up. It was none other than Li Long, Feng Hui, and the remaining Wild Blade sect disciples. Xie Xuanji is in the valley ahead. There are about 20 of them. If I'm not mistaken, Feng Tianyi and the others should be inside as well. However, their auras are very weak. I don't think they can hold on for much longer. Looking back at Li Long, Fei Ren said calmly. All right. Let's kill our way in and settle the score with that bastard Xie Xuanji. Hearing this, Li Long coldly snorted and was about to rush out of the forest in the next moment. However, he was stopped by Fei Ren with a furious expression. Brother Li, don't worry. You guys just need to guard the entrance of the valley. I'll go meet Xie Xuanji. As for the remaining Xie clan lackeys, they will naturally come out obediently when the time comes. At that time, you guys can kill them all. After stopping Li Long, Fei Ren said calmly as if he already had a plan in mind. All right. Although that bastard Xie Xuanji's character is not good, his strength is indeed above mine. I can only rely on Brother Fei. After speaking, Li Long hesitated for a moment before heavily nodding his head. Currently, he did not have many people with him. Only a few Wild Blade sect disciples were following him. Beside him, Feng Hui's strength was not considered top-notch. In the valley, other than Xie Xuanji, there was also a group of Xie clan disciples. Putting aside their strength, they were at a disadvantage in terms of numbers. Xie Xuanji, this young master will see what ability you have. Fei Ren's figure flew out and rushed towards the valley in the next moment. His face was as firm as steel. In the nameless valley, Xie Xuanji's figure continuously shuttled through the crowd. Every time he attacked, a Feng clan disciple would fall to the ground without any resistance. In a short while, the few surviving Feng clan disciples around Feng Tianyi were all killed. For a moment, blood flowed like a river and corpses were everywhere. Feng Tianyi, you are the only one left now. Are you in despair? Xie Xuanji withdrew his hand and stood. Rolling yuan power wrapped around his body. His gaze once again looked at Feng Tianyi opposite him as he spoke in a mocking tone. Cough cough, am I, Feng Tianyi, going to lose my life here today? The long sword in his hand was stabbed into the ground as Feng Tianyi forcefully propped his body up. His face was pale and the yuan power aura on his body was declining. He was not even at the 5th level of the body refinement stage. After an intense battle, although he had forcefully blocked the attacks of numerous Xie clan disciples, the injuries on his body had worsened. Furthermore, there was not much yuan power left in his body, and he could not free himself to stop Xie Xuanji. The Feng clan disciples beside him were all dead, and he was the only one left. Die. Yuan power surged in Xie Xuanji's left palm as an evil spirit shadow appeared, intending to deal a fatal blow to the other party. Xie Xuanji, so many people attacking one person. Don't you have any shame? At this moment, a mocking voice rang out from afar. In the next moment, Fei Ren's figure streaked across the sky. In the end, he slowly landed in front of Xie Xuanji and the others. His face was calm and composed, and there was no lack of ridicule in his eyes. Who are you? Seeing Fei Ren's sudden attack, Xie Xuanji's body turned sluggish. In the next moment, the yuan power in his left palm slowly dissipated. His face was as dark as stagnant water. He could sense a yuan power aura on Fei Ren's body that was not weaker than his own. The person who will take your life. Patting the dust off his body, Fei Ren's eyes were filled with killing intent. No matter who you are, you can't stop me. Whether it's the Feng clan or the Mad Blade sect, from today onwards, you will cease to exist. Everyone, attack. Kill this brat. Seeing Fei Ren's ferocious approach, Xie Xuanji laughed out loud. His sinister face was filled with madness. Charge. Kill. Kill this brat and young Master Xie will reward you greatly. Just as the words left his mouth, the Xie clan disciples that were surrounding Feng Tianyi also charged towards Fei Ren. In an instant, Yuan power swept out and countless attacks fell on Fei Ren's body. There were all kinds of attacks and their momentum was impressive. A bunch of trash. Facing everyone's attacks, Fei Ren stood still with his hands behind his back. His face was calm as if he had no intention of dodging. The strongest among the Xie clan disciples in front of him was only at the 7th level of the body refinement realm. Most of them were at the 5th or 6th level of the body refinement realm. This kind of attack could not even break the black tortoise armor on his body, let alone injure him. Other than Xie Xuanji, Fei Ren could kill everyone in one move. Chapter 54. Bang! Rumble! Countless elemental force attacks smashed onto Fei Ren's body, and in the next moment they exploded, causing dust to fly up in all directions. This brat is so arrogant. He actually took our attacks head-on. This time, he's dead for sure. That's right. Seeing Fei Ren's figure submerged in the Yuan power attacks, the Xie family disciples in the valley shouted out excitedly. Just this level? Are you trying to scratch my itch? Just as the crowd was clamoring, a disdainful voice slowly sounded out. In the next moment, Fei Ren's figure appeared once again. At this moment, he was still standing with his hands behind his back with a playful expression on his face. Even his clothes were stained with dust, and he did not suffer any injuries. How is this possible? What? This brat is actually fine. Seeing that Fei Ren was still unscathed after taking their attacks head-on, the surrounding Xie family disciples were shocked as they cried out in surprise. Under the combined attack of more than 20 people, even an expert at the 8th level of the refinement stage would have to retreat. However, they were still unable to do anything to Fei Ren. As expected, this brat is also at the 8th level of the refinement stage, and his strength is not only that. Not far away, Xie Xuanji's eyes narrowed as a trace of seriousness flashed across his gloomy face. From the beginning, he had sensed that Fei Ren's aura was not ordinary. This was also the reason why he did not directly make a move. Instead, he sent the Xie family disciples to risk their lives in order to probe the opponent's strength and strength. Die. Fei Ren's gaze swept across his surroundings. In the next moment, the corners of his mouth curled up. At the same time, his body shot out explosively towards the 2 6th-level body refinement stage Xie clan disciples. Taking advantage of this opportunity, he sent out 100 snake hands. Swish, swish. Essence energy gushed out like an ocean, instantly condensing into 2 enormous mournful snake shadows. Everyone only felt a burst of ear-piercing sound waves, and in the next moment, the 2 Xie clan disciples were entangled and strangled by the mournful snake shadows, leaving only a pool of blood on the spot. 8th level of the refinement stage. Level 2 martial arts. Seeing his comrade die in an instant, Fei Ren unleashed his full strength. The surviving Xie family members looked at each other with fear on their faces. An expert at the 8th level of the body refinement realm had a strength that was even stronger than Fang Tianyi and Li Long amongst the people present. Besides the injured Fang Tianyi, only Xie Xuanji was able to contend with Fei Ren. Even if the others were to go up, they would only be sending themselves to be slaughtered by Fei Ren. Too late. Yuan Qi surged out from the palm of his left hand. Fei Ren casually swung his hand to the side and blasted out dozens of black tiger palm qi. In an instant, 5 to 6 Xie family disciples were blown away. Soon after, all of them died with blood flowing out from their 7 orifices. Although there were more than 20 Xie family disciples, most of them were below the 6th level of the body refinement realm. Only 1 or 2 of them were at the 7th level of the body refinement realm. Moreover, Fei Ren's attacks were extremely sneaky as he specialized in killing the Xie family disciples with high cultivation. With Fei Ren's current strength that was comparable to a half-step into the middle unity realm, These Xia family disciples were naturally not his match. Feiren waved his wasp bayonet blade and chopped off a few more heads. He was like a god of death descending to the world. For a moment, the valley was filled with blood. Bastard! Stop for this young master! When Xie Xuanji saw Fei Ren's massacre in the crowd, more than half of the Xie family's disciples had fallen. Countless of them had died, and corpses were strewn all over the ground. At this moment, Xie Xuanji could no longer hold himself back. He immediately roared and charged toward Fei Ren. The main character can't hold back anymore. Seeing Xie Xuanji charging towards him in anger, Fei Ren's lips curled up into a mocking smile. Then let's fight. Bang! Xie Xuanji channeled his primary power and punched towards Fei Ren's abdomen. Seeing this, Fei Ren's wrist shook slightly. The wasp bayonet blade turned around and blocked the attack. Primary power swept out from the blade and blocked the attack. In the next moment, the blade shook violently and forced Xie Xuanji to retreat dozens of steps. What a powerful force! This bastard actually has a first-tier spiritual treasure. After being forced back by Fei Ren in one move, Xie Xuanji felt a faint pain coming from his palm. Xie Xuanji's expression turned serious. Although his cultivation base was one level higher than Fei Ren's, Fei Ren had a Tier 1 spirit treasure in his hand. Moreover, his yuan power was dense and solid. His overall strength was not inferior to his own. Brother, thank you for your help. May I know your name? Seeing that Fei Ren was not at a disadvantage in the fight with Xie Xuanji, Fang Tianyi, who was secretly healing himself not far away, was shocked. Then, he quickly sent a voice transmission. In Heavenly Water Town, he had never seen a young genius as powerful as Fei Ren. Moreover, he was an unfamiliar face. Fei Ren, just focus on healing yourself. I'll deal with this bastard. Glancing at Fang Tianyi not far away, Fei Ren nodded. Kid, I know what you want. Whatever benefits the Fang family gave you, my Xie family will give you double. As long as you leave obediently now, I'll let bygones be bygones for killing the Xie family's disciples. Seeing that Fei Ren was determined to mess things up, Xie Xuanji's face darkened. He seemed to want to rope him in again. Really? Hearing this, Fei Ren suddenly retracted his primary power with a strange expression. Of course. I, Xie Xuanji, always do what I say. How about it? Seeing that Fei Ren showed signs of being tempted, Xie Xuanji immediately laughed out loud with a smile on his face. However, a trace of viciousness flashed across his eyes. Good. This is my answer. The corner of his mouth revealed a mocking smile. In the next moment, a wisp of primary power gushed out from Fei Ren's palm. The snake shadow in his palm hissed, and then he swung his hand towards a Xie family disciple at the 6th level of the body refinement realm. This Xie family disciple was swallowed by the mournful snake shadow before he could react. Not even a trace of his corpse was left. You. Seeing that Fei Ren suddenly attacked and killed another Xie family disciple, Xie Xuanji seemed to have not expected it. His face froze. Bastard, I'm going to tear you to shreds. Evil spirit palm. Realizing that he was being played, the anger in Xie Xuanji's heart that had not been suppressed rose again. In the next moment, he roared out and raised his hand to condense an evil spirit shadow. He directly smashed it towards Fei Ren's head. The evil spirit shadow whizzed across the sky, causing one's heart to palpitate. Quasi-rank 3 martial art? Xie Xuanji's evil spirit shadow was quite powerful. It was even more powerful than Fei Ren's 100 snake hands, which had reached the level of perfection. It had reached the level of a rank 3 martial art, which was why he was so confident. Unfettered blade technique. Focusing his eyes, Fei Ren once again slashed out with the wasp blade in his hand, meeting the evil spirit shadow head-on. In the next moment, the blade and primary power fiercely clashed together, emitting an ear-piercing sound of silver and iron colliding. In the end, it loudly exploded. Rumble! Rumble! An extremely powerful primary power storm swept out, engulfing Fei Rin and Xie Xuanji's figures. As for the surrounding Xie family disciples, even Feng Tianyi could not avoid it. They were all affected. Some of the weaker Xie family disciples were even heavily injured by the primary power storm, spitting out blood as they frantically retreated. What a terrifying primary power remnant! Is this Xie Xuanji's true strength? I never thought that Fei Rin would be so powerful, actually forcing Xie Xuanji to use his full strength. Not far away, Feng Tianyi, who had retreated behind a huge rock in a valley, had a complicated expression on his face. At this moment, he finally understood that compared to Fei Rin and Xie Xuanji, his strength was not even worth mentioning. Even Li Long of the Wild Blade sect was the same. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.